murder, theft and corruption have been made public before the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry. Former EMPD Deputy Commissioner Whiz Quiz yesterday testified about members attached to the now disbanded SWAT unit who were involved in at least 5 criminal cases. This includes the murder and subsequent cover-up of a man in Brakpan in 2022. The unit previously reported to acting EMPD head Julius Mkhwanazi, who has been linked to crime suspect Vusmuzi Ket Matlala. Oren Singh reports.
Despite trying to rid EMPD of corrupt officials allegedly involved in serious criminal activities, there has been very little action taken by the city of Ekurhuleni to deal with the rot within the Metro Police. Acting EMPD head Julius Mkhwanazi is accused of having run a rogue unit within the Metro Police who have been involved in crimes dating back to 2022. Former EMPD Deputy Commissioner Whiz Quiz told the Matlanga Commission that despite criminal cases being probed by IPID and in some instances EMPD officers arrested, Mkhwanazi and his units enjoyed political protection.
Brigadier Mkhwanazi and his unit, the VIP protection side, the specialized services and all of those officers were very seriously protected by the city manager, by the head of legal, by the head of HR.
Mkhwanazi was placed on special leave last month following the allegations made against him in the commission. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News.
The Judicial Commission into Truth and Reconciliation cases says the delay in proceedings is in the interests of the hearings. The commission was set to begin yesterday, but proceedings stalled. The NPA and Justice Department informed the commission of the intention to apply for a recusal for Chief Evidence Leader Advocate Ishmael Semenya. Both have flagged Semenya's involvement because he has previously acted as an advisor for the NPA and has represented them in TRC-related cases. The Commission has agreed to give them until the 26th to make representations. Commission spokesperson Lionel Adenoff.
Unfortunately, we do consider this an unfortunate delay, but this is in the best interest and until we see what they are arguing and what certain departments and entities are saying, then we would know how to deal with it.
The trial against Zuma Sambula, charged with terror and public violence, will continue for day 2 in the Durban High Court today, with a new witness taking the stand. The daughter of former President Jacob Zuma is accused of using social media to fuel civil unrest in the country after her father was arrested in 2021. MK Party spokesperson Tlamulo Ndlela has accused the NPA of wasting its resources on the party's Member of Parliament.
We know that there were about 17 resources that were deployed and paid by the NPA. And if this is what they came out with, then this is totally embarrassing. Especially when they were asked a simple question as why did it take so long for them to come to this conclusion, let alone trump up these charges, because this is exactly what this is. It's just trumped up charges.
Ndlela says Zuma Sambula is being targeted.
That alone tells you that there is no case and that they are at pains and they are desperate in terms of trying to actually pin something down on Comrade Dudula.
And police in the Indian capital, Delhi, have invoked an anti-terror law as they investigate a deadly car explosion in which at least 9 people were killed. It's been reported that at least 20 other people have also been wounded in yesterday's blast. Police now appear to be focusing on the possibility that the explosion was an intentional act rather than an accident. Multiple Indian news agencies have reported that the Delhi police have registered a case under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the country's main law to combat acts of alleged terrorism, and the Explosives Act. This punishes the illegal purchasing and the use of incendiary materials. Gold is trading at $4,144.53 an ounce. The rand is at 17.15 to the dollar, 22.58 to the pound, 19.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.99 a barrel.
In Kempton Park, roadworks already causing heavy delays this morning on the R24 westbound between the R21 and Barbara Road. Calvin also expect delays heading towards Midrand later this morning. That's due to roadworks on the N3 northbound between London Road and the Between to change.
And in your sports, Springboks delay naming their side to face Italy as Lothar Jager has his disciplinary hearing today. Bafana coach Hugo Broos says he's 75% settled on his side to face AFCON. And at the ATP Masters, Winds for Sinna and Fritz.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon scattered thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 13 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria and Vereeniging both at 14 degrees, peaking at 24. The top story in EW and the hour, the South African Weather Service has issued another warning for severe thunderstorms in Gauteng and other parts of the country today.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Six minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to 702 Breakfast on this Tuesday morning. It's the 11th of November, 2025. Where are you listening to us from? Etwatwa, Easterus, Tukumsrust, Mansiville, Mutlakeng, Roshni. It doesn't matter. All around 702 land. We are pleased as punch to be in your company. My name is Bongani Bingwa. Of course, I'm not alone. Muteo Haripe is here with business news and so much more. Happy Tuesday, Muteo.
Happy Tuesday, Bongs.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the police? Now, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios. If they knock, well, they don't quite knock on people's doors this morning, right? They hoot outside your gate because usually your gate is locked and there's a high wall and they can't get through, right? How confident would you come out?
7, 8 out of 10.
It's the middle of the night. You are driving on a dark road or poorly lit road. Woo, 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 the car behind you. Siren and lights flash by. Do you stop?
That's a different situation.
What do you do?
Try to find the nearest station. We'll meet there.
Scale of 1 to 10 in that situation, how much do you trust them?
5 out of 10.
Karabo Charlie?
Gee, morning bongs. Me, I'll say 7 generally.
7 generally.
Yeah.
What do you worry about?
Crooked cops.
Crooked cops.
Yeah.
Who will do what to you?
Try and extort money.
For what?
I mean, they'll trump up anything on the road.
They'll find a reason.
Something is wrong and you have to pay us. Yeah.
Or even fake cops. You never know if
That's
they're
even
real.
worse. Yeah.
Fake cops, rogue cops. I want to know from you, how much do you trust the police? I'm going to tell you why we're asking that question coming up.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
One of the important things in life is the story you tell about yourself, the story you tell about your family, the story you tell about your roots, because that story is essentially your bio. It's what you want people to know about you. In 1994, South Africa had a pretty darn good story. We had come out of a tortured past of racial disharmony, of apartheid. You could even argue way back and say 400 years of colonialism and displacement and violence. And we'd somehow found a way to come up with a story. How real it is can be a different debate for a different day. But we'd come up with the story of being the Rainbow Nation people of God, right? Isn't that what Archbishop Desmond Tutu christened us, let's say, right? He christened us the Rainbow Nation of God. The Rainbow People of God, I think, was his particular phrase. We were the darling of the world. Nelson Mandela, as our first democratically elected president, was consulted by the likes of Bill Clinton, by the likes of George Bush Sr. He was consulted by the British Prime Minister whenever they were taking major international decisions that might impact the rest of the world. He was on that list of people they called to say, Chief, what do you think? Chief, we want to do this. Chief, we want to do that. What do you think? In fact, when Bill Clinton had his back against the wall with the Republicans trying to impeach him over the Monica Lewinsky thing, who addressed Congress and said, leave this man alone? It was Nelson Mandela. That's the story we had to tell on the world stage. I don't have to tell you about the Springbok victory of 1995 and what that meant for reconciliation. I don't have to tell you about the 1994 elections that really took away the attention of the world from almost anything else, including the Rwanda genocide. That was the story we had to tell. How did we muck it up? How did we muck it up? Yes, Donald Trump and his administration are not attending the G20 summit, and that's perhaps not entirely through our own fault, certainly not the government, none at any rate, South Africa is still a guest to this party, is it not, Muteo? I looked at the world's largest economies. I think we ranked 41st. We're not in the 20 because we have earned our place. We were invited to this party, right? That's part of that narrative. We were the economy on the continent that the world said, okay, we can do business with these guys as a way of including Africa in the conversation. But here we are. We've mucked it up, that story. Our first interview is with Dr. Terren McName, a global affairs specialist and a senior fellow at the Montreal Institute of Global Security based in Canada. We're going to talk about that story and whether we can rewrite it again. And then a focus on the mini budget. Why did we stop calling the medium term budget policy statement? Oh, it's a mouthful. Mini budget was so much easier.
No, I think the mini budget was a newsroom decision. Different newsrooms saying, how can you better make South Africans understand what, the policy statement is. So the introduction was, it's a mini budget. So it's not like the main budget. This is where they decide the plan for the next 3 years. We'll call it a mini budget.
Medium-term budget policy statement.
So
even as MTPBS, it's a mouthful.
Yeah, but as soon as the viewer and the listeners got to know what it is, we were like, okay, now
we can go back to the mouthful. For me, it was never about not knowing what it is. It was just, it's so much easier. The half budget, because it is a kind of review.
Yes.
Midterm review, right? Of our fiscal policy. Mini budget. Can I call it mini budget?
No one will.
They'll know.
You can call it.
Oh, okay. I thought you said no one will. I'm like,
it's fine.
It's fine. We're also going to talk to you about World Diabetes Day that's coming up on Friday, the 14th of October. We're speaking to Pitso Molimane, who is an activist who has been living with diabetes. And then, wait. Just before 9 o'clock, the child of Athlone. Come on. Think lies. Think Sarah. Think Berenice. Think down 7th Avenue. We're speaking to the late, not the late. Oh, what am I saying? We're speaking to the great Jonathan Butler.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
13 after 6. Our shout out this morning is a very simple one. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the police? Have you been stopped by police officers? What was your reaction? Did you worry they might be rogue officers? They might be corrupt officers? They might be fake officers? I'm keen to know your thoughts on that. The big story, of course, we're looking at today, South African Weather Service issuing a warning for severe thunderstorms for Gauteng and other parts of the country. So do expect heavy downpours, hail, strong winds, and localized flooding. So that's one to watch out for a little later today.
Let's walk the talk.
7:02.
Muteo Haripe, 14 after 6. You've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning from you and 702 Landers, Bongani, what have you had to compete for, and did you win? Did it bring out your ugly side as well as you were?
I mean, I think we compete for jobs. We compete for jobs in this industry.
Yeah.
I was not the only one who was interviewed when they were looking to hire to put people behind this microphone.
Okay.
They looked around. I dare say I probably wasn't even their first choice.
Are
but you
those
compete
people
for those
still
jobs.
your friends?
Certainly the one who didn't take it.
Okay.
You compete for awards, you compete for promotions, you compete for gigs. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. You compete in love. Come on. Muteo, have you never done that? Years and years and years ago.
I have, of course I have.
Is this your person?
Very young.
Is this your person? You look at her and you go,
I think Karabo was the one.
You go, is this your person?
For someone.
Come now. And if she's not offended, you know you've won.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm lying.
How are you telling people these things?
6:15.
7:02.
Weather.
Big story, of course, as I say today. You heard it in Eyewitness News. We are being warned by the South African Weather Service. Severe thunderstorms in Gauteng and other parts of the country. So afternoon scattered showers and thunder showers expected then for this province. Temperatures peaking at 22 degrees for Joburg. Pretoria and Vereeniging 24. Bombela is 23. Bloemfontein 26. Durban partly cloudy, but they're also expecting rain and showers there, maxing at 29 degrees. Gqeberha and East London both peaking at 24. Cape Town, 27.
EWN Traffic.
All right, a first look at the road, 16 after 6. Karabo, tell you what you got.
Yeah, wet, slippery roads in rainy Gauteng this morning, so please allow for extra traveling time. It will be a busy morning on the roads. Maintain a safe following distance and keep your headlights on. At this stage, if you're leaving Kempton Park heading towards the Edenville area, roadworks already causing about a 30-minute delay. This is on the R24 westbound between OR Tambo International Airport. That's the R21 and Barbara Road. Sunwood Park, also roadworks slowing down traffic. N17 westbound approaching Rondebolt in Calvin, heading towards Midrand. Expect delays as the morning progresses. This is also due to roadworks on the N3 northbound between London Road and the Butler interchange. Also slow-moving traffic already. Driving through Boysens, heading towards the Joburg CBD. This is the M1 northbound between Boysens Road and the Crown interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
So you thought you were building a business in this economy, but day by day, somehow it grew. You kept going when the freezer didn't freeze, the bucket didn't budge, and the bank balance barely blinked. So you thought you were building a business. You weren't. It was building you. Because this isn't just what you do anymore, it's who you are, and you don't trust just anybody to protect it. Chat to your broker about Old Mutual Insure Business Insurance. Protect what built you. Old Mutual Insure Limited is a licensed FSP and non-life insurer.
Hey guys, this is Robert Marawa, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. Playing responsibly is part of the winning strategy. Make smart choices and continue to score. If you or someone that you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling Toll-Free Counseling Line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
For the first time on African soil, business leaders from across the globe will gather for the B20 Summit in Sandton from 18th to 20th November. On the agenda is inclusive growth and prosperity through global cooperation. Tomorrow, the Clement Manetella Show will be in conversation with Nedbank to discuss all the insights, expectations, and predictions ahead of the summit. So tune in to 702 in conversation with Nedbank, proud sponsors of the B20 Summit. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider.
702.
Add your voice.
Have your say.
Let's walk the talk.
Morning, Bongs. I don't trust police. Not at all. I don't trust police. Look now, the Matlalas of this world had blue lights on their cars. Hey? Criminals had blue lights on their cars. And you remember some years ago, the bogus cops, they'll just stop you, then rob you. So unfortunately, I do not trust South African cops. Thank you. Taru Tipluf.
You know what the worry is, Mateo? After all the revelations we've heard in this process, in these processes looking at alleged criminality in law enforcement, we're no longer asking if the police are paid or part of the criminals. We're asking which of the criminals are police. That's the question. I mean, yesterday we heard from the former Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Commissioner Rivo Spies about members attached to a now disbanded SWAT unit who were involved in at least 5 criminal cases, including murder. Murder. He went on yesterday to talk about alleged misconduct in that traffic department. So he explains, he says, man, these guys don't make less than 100K a month from bribes. have a listen to what he says about how that might unfold. He says, work out the maths. You can figure out how much these guys are making. Have a listen.
There's a group of officers right through the country of municipal police that commit crimes, but they are not being investigated properly. One of the reasons I touched on it is that in terms of the Racketeering Act, or in terms of what the Hawks must investigate, there's limits of like 100,000 rand incidents. Where we are saying is, if you go and look at what bribery is being committed by traffic officers and municipal police officers, if an officer works 8 to 10 hours a day and you have contact in that session with members of the public and he issues a fine every hour, he needs to issue 8. So very quickly you can do maths. If he doesn't issue, it's like 2 to 3 minutes to issue a fine. If it's an argument and a long lecture as well, let's make it 10 minutes. He still need to issue 50 to 60 in his normal day because he's been employed as a law enforcement officer, not a shoe salesman. He must arrest people, he must give notices, he must do law enforcement.
Right, he says, he goes on at some length in that statement and he works it out and he says, look, if you think of the average officer, you've got an 8-hour shift, right? Takes you 2 to 3 minutes. If there's no conversation and no debate, hey, KG, you're speeding. Yes, officer, give me your license. Here's your speeding ticket. Off you go. 2 to 3 minutes. And this is, look, let's be generous. Let's say it takes 10 minutes per fine, right? In an hour, how many would you issue? At least 6, right? And he goes on to say that there are officers who issue maybe 1 ticket in 6 months. And nobody checks. So how much money do you think they're making? And because of this limit of 100,000 rand, they get away with it. Because nobody investigates. Because they've put some limit in terms of the threshold of what they can investigate, over or under. So they just get away with it.
The cap is 100,000.
Yeah.
If the amount goes over 100,
then
it's been investigated.
Yeah. So they just get close enough. But again, you have to prove. You have to prove that they got to 100,000. And then he says, listen to how they live.
However, there's officers that issue 1 fine in 6 months or 1 in a year. And when you start looking at that and you calculate the possible contact that he had with public and the amount of complaints on the other side, and then the rumors of if it's a drunken driving, it's 4,000, 5,000 rand, and you start calculating that, you will see that those type of officers is actually doing 100, 200,000 rand a month. If based from that, if you start just doing normal maths, and then you start looking at how officers live, they drive luxury vehicles, they live luxury estates. And when you ask your own counsel and you ask anyone, but can we do lifestyle audits on officers? It's always no, it doesn't allow it. So lifestyle audits is reserved at the moment for maybe the heads of departments or the city managers.
Isn't that all you need to know? For drunken driving, the guy gets 5,000, right? And how many drunken drivers does he stop? How does an officer have only 1 ticket in 6 months? And they live in these palatial homes, drive these fancy cars, and nobody's looking. How much do you trust the police?
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the
24 minutes after 6 o'clock. Here's a question for you, Muteo. Who's the most famous person you've met on a flight?
Jeez, on a flight.
Yeah, I was once on a flight with, I think, Jacques Callis.
I think it's Ali Bacha for me.
It had to be cricketers, right? I've seen Jacques Callis. I've seen Begitele on a flight.
Did you say hello?
I'd seen him earlier in the lounge.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the things about doing this job is you go, wow, 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 and then you meet these people in real life. It's like, oh, hello.
Did you have a meeting in the lounge?
We said hello.
Should you be at the commission?
We both had stiff drinks.
Okay.
No, it wasn't at the Beverly Hills lounge.
Oh, okay.
It was at an airport lounge.
Okay.
Imagine this. President Cyril Ramaphosa gave passengers a rare glimpse of himself. There he was. I don't know if you saw those images. He was standing in line like anybody else, waiting for a British Airways flight after his presidential jet Inkwazi had some issues. They're calling it routine maintenance, but you would think they would do that before he leaves. So I'm going to read between the lines and say that Inkwazi had some issues they obviously had to fix, and the president had to then fly commercial. So there he was, waiting in line like everybody else. It's one thing to meet a minister, even in economy, and you think, yeah. I don't know how I feel about the president. Like, SA Airport, a Queen. Oh, and the flight got cancelled. Right?
But isn't that what we want?
Is it?
Have we never called for ministers to
Ministers, sure. Certainly deputies. They must fly economy like the rest of us. But president,
It means
guys,
he trusts the airline.
our dignity, it just means he had no other means. Right?
I thought that was the reason.
He wanted a publicity moment at Heathrow.
That could have been the reason.
I
No one
I'm
would
not-
recognize.
How do you feel about it? Who's the most famous person you've seen on a flight? And how do you feel when you spot ministers mingling in a crowd? I'd love to know. Of course, the medium-term budget policy statement is something we are keeping an eye on. Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana delivering that this week. And it is really the halfway review of the country's fiscal policy. In Ecuador, a prison riot. Remember, Adam Gilchrist told us about this last week. Well, 31 lives have now been lost. Inmates choked or hanged after being moved from that maximum security facility. We'll get more details from him later on. The Transport Minister, Barbara Creasy, has announced that the rollout of the Administrative Adjudication Road Traffic Offences, or AARTO system, for automated traffic fines will now start on July the 1st, 2026, instead of this December. Apparently, some municipalities are not yet ready. Surprise, surprise. And for some nostalgia, 2006, Vava's Day, Justin Timberlake's My Love, featuring T.I., hitting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, holding that top spot for 3 weeks. It followed the massive success of another song, Sexy Back, and proved Timberlake wasn't just a teeny bopper star, he was a genuine pop idol.
702.
The newspapers.
Swisa Zulu 27 after 6. Let's look at the newspapers. A very good morning to you.
Good morning, Bongani. Most international publications are focusing on this big story that happened in India, in the capital, Delhi, where 9 people died following a car explosion. And police in India are now invoking an anti-terror law as they're investigating. It's been reported that 20 other people have been hospitalized, and police now appear to be focusing on the possibility that the explosion was an intentional act rather than an accident, and there are speculations that it could have been an act from another country. So a lot of people are suspecting Pakistan. Remember, earlier in the year there was that war between India and Pakistan, but there are more investigations that are happening. So following that car explosion in Delhi yesterday,
Yeah, let's not call it a war. There was tension.
Well, tension.
Yes.
Yeah.
War
between the two countries. Yeah.
Was tension, shall we
Yeah.
call it that? I'm still stuck at the revelations. I know you told a little bit of it at the top of the hour. The revelations by Rivo Spies, this former Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Deputy Chief, speaking at the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry. Just extraordinary things, including, of course, the arrest of officers for kidnapping and extortion of a supermarket manager in 2022. They were arrested, these officers, and the victim alleged officers entered his shop and confiscated cigarette boxes, which they claimed he was illegally in possession of. And then the victim was dropped by the officers in a field near the N12, and they took his cell phone and some cash, and they told him to run away. It's just quite extraordinary, some of the things that he was saying. Video footage, for example, of a complainant from Meyerton where officers stole copper pretending to impound it, and this guy was a whistleblower. These guys are released on bail, and the next day he is killed in an apparent botched hijacking. I mean, some of the stuff that came out yesterday was just unbelievable.
EWN Business.
So you want to know, have we had to compete for something? Did you win? Did it bring out your ugly side? A promotion, a business opportunity, an auction, a partner? What prompts the question?
Bongani, neighboring nations Botswana and Angola are on opposite ends this time around. The countries are bidding to wholly own the great diamond company De Beers. Now, De Beers are put up for sale by Anglo amid falling diamond prices had attracted interest from at least 6 consortia. Botswana already owns around 15% of the company through Debswana and considers the diamond producer as a national asset key for building industry and creating jobs. Now, President Dumaboko told lawmakers in Botswana that although the country needs to diversify, diamond production is still a cornerstone for that economy. Now, Angola initially sought a minority stake in De Beers, but later submitted a bid for a majority stake, setting up a potential bidding war with its neighbor. Now, De Beers is jointly exploring for diamonds in Angola with the state-owned mine Endiama, and in August announced the country's first kimberlite field discovery in 3 decades. Anglo values De Beers at $4.9 billion, around 80 billion rand. After recording a $3.5 billion in impairments over the past 2 years. So basically, Anglo is not seeing much value in the diamond business, looking to get rid of that business.
Yeah.
But Botswana is saying this is an opportunity for them to further diversify their portfolio, but also use it as an asset to create jobs and bigger industry.
Synthetic diamonds, that's what it is, right? It's the lab diamonds. That's what's killing the diamond industry. All right, where's the rand?
17 Rand 15 cents against the US dollar in a very, very good position this morning. 19 Rand 82 cents against the euro. And you'll need 22 Rand 56 cents to get a British pound. The price of gold at $4,143 an ounce, while platinum is still up at $1,587. Brent crude at $63.84 a barrel. More business after 7.
Straight to the news desk we go. Sfiso Zulu, what is Action SA saying?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. The party says while it agrees with controversial civil group Operation Dudula's message against illegal foreigners, it doesn't condone its methods. Operation Dudula has recently come under fire for blocking foreign nationals from accessing public health facilities. The Johannesburg High Court last week ordered the police to enforce an interdict against the group for its practices. Tabiso Goba reports.
According to the latest census data, there's about 2.4 million people of foreign descent living in South Africa. Less than 4% of the country's total population. Action SA President Herman Mashaba says as mayor of Johannesburg, he was vilified for raising concern over the rise of illegal immigration into the country.
Here we are, how many years, 7 or so years later, everyone is talking openly about illegal foreigners, that they're a curse to our nation. We have to deal with them, but we've got to deal with them within the legal framework. One of the core values of Action SA is the rule of law. So we are not the ones to take the law into our own hands.
Mashaba says he recently met with Operation Dudula leaders and told them to work within the country's constitution to achieve their objectives. He says Action SA is also doing the same within Parliament, provincial legislatures and the municipal councils where it's represented. Tabiso Goba, Eyewitness News.
Frustrated Reiger Park residents on the East Rand are desperately seeking for any intervention to tackle gang violence in their community. Police top brass, including Acting Minister Firoz Kachalia, met with communities yesterday that are battling with increased crime. The fact-finding mission comes after both communities were recently rocked by mass shootings that claimed lives, including those of teenagers. Ntokozo Kumalo reports.
In efforts to find solutions and organized crime, Acting Police Minister Firoz Kachalia and other police top brass visited the two communities affected by the same issue. Some residents in Westbury and Reiger Park have claimed that gang violence is a generational issue in the areas. Frustrated Reiger Park resident Lucinda Schubert.
They can't make an assumption that it's not that bad because it hasn't been in the news. And something like this catastrophic and sad and tragic has to happen for this kind of reaction to be, for us to get it now only.
Schubert adds that the responsibility to find solutions need to be a joint effort from the community and law enforcement. Ntokozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News.
The Organization Undoing Tax Abuse says South Africa is far from ready to implement the AARTO Act. AARTO's comments come a day after the Transport Department postponed the implementation of the Act, with the initial launch previously set for the 1st of December. Under the Act, minor traffic offences will be addressed through fines and demerit points, while major offences will go to court. AARTO CEO Wayne Duvenage says the delay was inevitable.
So we are not surprised, and that matter alone, with some municipalities pulling out of AARTO, makes it a bigger problem for the Department of Transport. So we'll have to see what unfolds. We don't even think that they will meet the July next year deadline, but let's see.
He says it's raised concerns over AARTO's practicality and fair administration over the last decade, adding that it also lacks clarity, fairness and adequate functionality.
AARTO is extremely cumbersome. It is administratively challenged from a number of perspectives, let alone the systems and the platforms that it relies on, accuracy of NATIS.
And an additional 2,300 US flights have been cancelled as President Donald Trump threatens to reduce the salaries of air traffic controllers who called in sick during the government shutdown. After Trump ripped absent aviation workers as unpatriotic, the National Air Traffic Controllers Association labor union has hailed members working without pay as unsung heroes. The back and forth highlights the mounting strain on the aviation industry as the record-breaking shutdown hit 41 days, though a compromise bill advancing in Congress was raising hopes of a resolution this week. The air traffic control system was already under strain before the shutdown due to understaffing and is facing a surge in passengers with upcoming Thanksgiving holiday travel. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected today. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 14 degrees, peaking at highs between 22 and 24.
Kempton Park roadworks causing more than a 20-minute delay. This is on the R24 westbound between the R21 and Barbara Road. There's also slow-moving traffic in the Sunwood Park area. This is due to roadworks on the N17 approaching Rondebolt, and in Durban Deep, Roodepoort, traffic sluggish on Randfontein Road between Collet and Milestalker.
The top story this hour, Action SA says while it agrees with controversial civil group Operation Dudula's message against illegal foreigners, it doesn't condone its other methods.
Part of the 702 family.
My name is Franz Gate. I've been in Johannesburg since 2004, and I accidentally got onto 702 listening to John Robbie because I'm a mad sports fan, but I cannot believe the quality of broadcasting that 702 has played in my life. It's added so much value to my curious nature, and 702 ticks all my boxes.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
Day 20, awaiting proof of payment. Day 30, still waiting. Day 40, funds finally cleared. In business, credit with 55 interest-free days keeps you moving. We get it. Get an ABSA Business Credit Card. Use over 50% of your credit and initiation fees will be on us. Offer ends 31 December 2025. Apply at absa.co.za/business. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply. ABSA, your story matters.
James, congrats on the babies.
Yeah, thanks. It's a wild ride.
You're a new dad, 2 babies, 0 sleep, and 1 car that apparently couldn't cope.
Yeah, the hatchback was my baby, but it just didn't have enough space for my 2 new babies.
And are you happy with the price when you sold to WeBuy Cars?
Very. We've even got some extra cash to splurge on one of those fancy prams that you basically need a license for.
Good luck, James. WeBuy Cars. Geared for family, geared for you.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Box. I'm here, don't stop at night. I trust police 1/10. I don't trust police at all. Even yesterday, I knock off at night. Even yesterday, they followed me. I ran away until I arrived at home. I opened the gate and get inside. I don't stop for police at night at all. I don't trust them.
Morning, Bongos and the team. Early this year I got hijacked by someone wearing police uniform. They had the lights and everything, but the car was unbranded. So I do not trust. Matter of fact, I don't trust any government institution. Your Department of Home Affairs. Like when I walk into those kind of departments, institutions, I actually expect horrible service. So as for the police, I don't trust them at all. These dudes are all captured, most of them.
What do you do if you're stopped? I mean, I think people are starting to distinguish perhaps between, say, Metro Police officers who may stop them and SAPS officials. And the irony, of course, is based on the evidence we heard at the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday. In fact, the finger was pointing at Metro Police officers from Ekurhuleni.
Bongs, morning. We would have been complaining had Ramaphosa chartered a flight. So I think it's good that he's flying. I'm sure they got him a comfortable seat. Thank you.
Bongani team. Yeah, I saw Becky Cele, Joburg, was it 4 years ago? Yeah, he tipped the gentleman cleaning in the bathroom $100 and just walked around without security. He was just there, just chilling.
EWN Sport. Yeah, I've also seen Becky Cele on a flight. I remember seeing Jacques Callis on a flight. Did I see Shane Warne or did I see him somewhere else? My mind is fuzzy. It doesn't matter. Cindy, I wanted to text you yesterday afternoon. Guess what I'm doing for the first time? And yes, I hang my head in shame.
I don't know.
I only started watching Chasing the Sun.
Oh
yesterday.
Yes, but you know what? And I don't blame you because it is a phenomenal series, right? Chasing the Sun 1 and 2. But I can understand because they released it shortly after the World Cup, so a lot of people had World Cup fatigue.
Okay.
And so it just felt like sitting to watch. So are you watching the first one?
I binged all of the first one. So now I'm going to watch the second one.
Isn't Makazola Mapimpi story just
my goodness.
The absolute gem in that whole thing where we can detail it for the listeners. So during the 2019 World Cup, you had the faces of these South Africans on the back of the Springbok jersey where as a fan you could submit your photo and then they would stick it on the number at the back, right? And they chose family and etc. And when it came to Makazola Mapimpi, they asked him, which of your family would you like on the back of your jersey? And he said, I don't have anyone. Yeah. And he literally has no one. And you just see Rassie crying and it's just...
I mean, you may not remember this, or maybe you do. Remember they did that campaign. In fact, one of the things they did is they gave us T-shirts, those rugby shirts of that 2019 World Cup. And so mine has your face. It's got Aki Anastasiou.
I think mine's also got yours. Yeah.
So from 2019, I beg your pardon. But what an absolutely amazing story. And
and well done to the production team that would have followed the box around for so long to get all those moments in the hopes. Because also, it was just so beautiful because Rassie came in and he never intended for them to win the 2019 World Cup. Yeah. He intended them to win the 2023. So he said 2023 is on my radar, 2019 is an experiment because he came in 18 months before the World Cup and the team was in absolute disarray. Yeah. I think we were like number 8 or 9 in the world at the time.
It was a 57. It starts with that 57-0 loss at Ellis Park. But I suspect whatever team is announced on Thursday, losing is not going to be on anyone's minds.
No, so normally we announce a team on Tuesday. That's Rassie's habit, but they've moved it out to Thursday, and I've got a feeling that's got to do with the red card that Lotte Jager was shown on Saturday against France. So he's got to face that disciplinary committee today. That will then affect Rassie's ability of who plays where, etc. And he could be resting key players for this game because he obviously wants to test his depth with another World Cup 2 years out. Assistant coach Tony Brown says it won't be easy.
And if you've watched Italy play Australia, you know that they're going to be a tough team, a tough challenge for us. They're passionate at home, the same as the French. So we've got to make sure we prepare as well as we can and make sure we tick every box like we did against France.
I think you can't underestimate any team in international action at the moment. On the weekend, we saw Scotland holding the All Blacks at 17-all for the last 7 minutes of their game. So the difference in the teams in World Rugby the gap is closing. The All Blacks, speaking of which, won't have Caleb Clark for Saturday's game with England after he failed a header injury assessment. But for now, back in action this weekend, they play Zambia in a friendly. AFCON starts end of December with the team set to be announced in the upcoming weeks. So for coach Hugo Broos, this game is more than a friendly.
I will ask from every player focus and concentration like we had for the qualifiers. Even it's not a qualifier, but I will not accept that players are taking this game just as a little holiday. I want to win on Saturday. It's also for me the last opportunity to call some players who I wanted to see a little bit more from closer.
At the ATP Masters, Taylor Fritz beat Lorenzo Musetti 6-3, 6-4. Musetti replaced Djokovic, who withdrew from the event due to a shoulder niggle. Sinner cruised past Agiala Sim 7-5 and 6-1. Here's Sinner.
Yeah, I felt like he was serving incredibly well. I had, a couple of chances. He served so well, and when Felix is, playing 100%, he's one of the toughest players to beat.
And in cricket later, Pakistan plays Sri Lanka in a first ODI, and the Proteas' first test with India starts this Friday. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
We get told to wait for things. Wait for the right moment. Wait for a rainy day. Wait till the cows come home. Cows? Really? Well, the waiting is over because the Decophone Furniture Black Friday Super Sale is now on, and with 15 to 40% and more off everything for the whole of November. What are you waiting for? The Decophone Black Friday Super Sale, now on, in-store or at decophoneSA.co.za.
I'm Samela Kilboy, an actress and mom to 3 lovely kids. I worry about how sugar can make them sick. Drinking sugary drinks could lead to diabetes, heart disease, and obesity as they get older. Diabetes is one of the top causes of death in South Africa. I'm joining the fight to demand government puts our health ahead of greedy industry profits. Government must act now. Increase the health promotion levy on sugary drinks. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hi, my name is Rabit Rahate. I'm 13 years old, and the name of my school is Tutokimatla Engineering School of Specialization. When I grow up, I want to become a dermatologist, and I'm so excited to be part of the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani Bingwa.
How much skin do you have in the game? That's the question.
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and really all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch it this Wednesday at 10 to 9. We're speaking to Exclusive Books, their CEO Grattan Kirk, in conversation with us. We do this on Wednesdays to highlight efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for butcheries, restaurants, beauty salons, and more. Here's Gert.
I definitely have peace of mind that Business Outsurance is protecting our business. I do think Business Outsurance are the best insurance company out there, and they gave us the best quotes.
Switch to Business Outsurance, and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
EWN Traffic.
12 to 7, let's catch up with the roads now. Delays in Kempton Park. Karabo?
Yeah, Kempton Park heading towards Germiston. You can expect about an hour delay. This is due to roadworks. R24 westbound between the R21 Atlas off-ramp and Barbara Road. Sunwood Park roadworks also causing about a 30-minute delay. This is on the N17 westbound approaching Rondebold. And there's also bumper-to-bumper traffic in the Devland area. N1 North between the N12 and the Deep Kloof interchange. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Hey, sorry for the voice note, but listen, I was there. I saw the receipt. Like, literally, that thing was long. It was giving scroll vibes and everything. Tommy, with this new Discount Better Rewards card, you get 10% off instantly. But like instantly, on over 140 brands. So look, I don't want to be like dramatic or anything, but your Discount till slip never looked better. Okay, bye.
No two people are identical, and nobody's finances are the same. That's why you need a banking partner that adapts to your complex circumstances. If you earn 800,000 Rand per annum or more, you may qualify for Investec Private Banking, where you'll enjoy effortless digital capabilities backed by real people who understand you. We'll even switch your account for you. Now that's private banking.
Investec is an authorized financial services and registered credit provider. Investec, out of the ordinary.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Good morning, Bongani. I do not stop for police. I was driving in St. Lucia, or towards St. Lucia one time, and the police had their sirens on behind me, and they were trying to block me off and cut me off the road. And I kept on driving. Like, I stopped and I said to them, follow me to the police station. And I just drove around them as they were trying to stop me. I managed to drive away and eventually ended up at the police station where I stopped. And they shouted at me for not stopping. And they were speaking in Zulu, which I didn't understand. And I said to them, no, I'm not going to stop because of safety reasons, and it was at night, and they weren't very happy with me, and they wanted to process me for evading justice.
The question we're asking you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the police?
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Give away some cash, shall we? Today we're playing with 13-year-old Reabetswe, who wants to be a dermatologist a little later on in life. Reabetswe, shall we play the Whiz Quiz?
Yes.
Yes is the confident answer. KG, let's start the clock. What is 10% of 100?
10.
Correct. What is the name for a baby goat? Is it Keys or a kid?
Chi.
It's a kid. Which farm animal's English name is the cricket term for zero?
Can you please repeat?
Which farm animal's English name is the cricket term for zero?
Pass.
Duck. True or false? One of the 8 planets in our solar system is called Pluto.
False.
Correct. Which country is the State of Liberty? Statue of Liberty?
United States of America.
Correct. Which continent has the fewest people?
Pass.
Antarctica. True or false? There are more than 500 bones in the human body.
False.
Correct. Which social networking website did Mark Zuckerberg co-found?
Facebook.
Correct. Spell the country Britain.
BR.
And we've run out of time, unfortunately, Kiabetso. Bit of a rough one there for you. 500 Rand, though, is not bad. It's half of the questions you were asked. Getting them right there. You walk away with 500 Rand. 500 Rand is what you win.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Talking of money, 3,000 Rand is up for grabs in the in What's the Question, brought to you by OUTsurance. You send us an answer based on something you heard in the show and you win 1,000 Rand. Simply WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072-702-1702. Then later someone asks a question to win 2,000 Rand. SMS out to 45142 now and you could save on your car insurance.
Current events, developing stories,
tough questions,
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
So remember when South Africa was the darling of the world, the beacon of democracy, the archetype of how a nation could come together to heal its wounds? One question we could ask is, have and how did we squander the goodwill the world held for the Rainbow Nation? We're still the only country that's part of the G20. In fact, I think we're ranked 41st in terms of actual GDP. With this year's host, but the most powerful economy is not going to be represented, not by its president, nor any cabinet member, or even a delegation. Domestically, the nation is seized with how far the rot of corruption and maladministration has set. We're asking questions these days of not how much law enforcement colludes with criminals, but rather how much or how many police are criminals themselves. Global Affairs Specialist and Senior Fellow at the Montreal Institute for Global Security, Dr. Terren McName, joins us to discuss his latest piece ahead of the G20 summit. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Your article paints a really striking picture, I suppose, of how South Africa's once inspiring Rainbow Nation ideal has dimmed over time.
Hi, thanks, Bongani. Good to be with you. I think there's many reasons why the story or the Rainbow Nation ideal has dimmed, but I think if I had to identify the most important actor, I think really it is the ANC government over the last 15 years or so. The story was an incredible asset for the country, which was leveraged to, great effect domestically and internationally. But if you were to use the metaphor of a garden that you plant, I mean, you have to take care of that story. You have to prune it, you have to water it, you have to pull out the weeds, because if you don't take care of that garden, it's just going to grow wild or it's going to die. And I think that's the situation that we have today.
Let's extend that metaphor. There are those who would argue that it was only perhaps ever part of the garden, that the rest remained with its weeds, the rest remained, in fact, with terrible soil. In other words, the Rainbow Nation ideal and myth, as some might argue, really was a plaster over a gaping wound. And what time has revealed is exactly just how mythical it always was.
Well, I think the Rainbow Nation myth obviously was one of the more idealistic of founding stories. But the point is that, people like Mandela, Tutu, they knew it was a destination for society more than a genuine reality on the ground in the 1990s. But I think what they understood intuitively is the power of a story or a myth to begin to shift mindsets. And that's what's crucial, to begin to change the way people envisage the future. And once you do that, once you shift mindsets, you can make that path easier for really concrete, substantive, real-world changes and reforms. And of course, the problem of sort of massive looting and corruption and leadership that is only pursuing their own self-interest as opposed to the national interest, of course, that's going to breed deep cynicism and erode any belief in myths and stories like this.
I want to contrast, in a sense, your picture of South Africa, because you describe us as rudderless and perhaps without direction. Others have a different view. Professor Adi Enthoven from Stellenbosch argues that, in fact, there are many positives in South Africa. We're off that grey list. The GNU seems to be settling down. There are fewer public squabbles. Initiatives like Operation Vulindlela are yielding real results. Load shedding seems a distant memory. We're moving when it comes to logistics and freight. All these own goals we had scored, we're making some really tangible reversals.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think it is important to emphasize those things as AD has done, but we can't ignore just how far things have fallen. And remember, no matter which country you are, runaway corruption and misrule at home, that's going to hemorrhage in and it's going to hemorrhage out and it's going to affect your standing in the world. And I think in terms of South Africa today, if we look at sort of its foreign policy, I mean, of course, it's marred by hypocrisy and, every country faces this clash between national values and national interests. But in the case of South Africa, I think the level of inconsistency and incoherence that we've seen is fairly pronounced. And that's really affected its relations deeply, particularly in the West. And that's why we don't see that there's much diplomatic cover for South Africa at this time when it's obviously the target of President Trump's ire on a regular basis.
One of the concerns I've raised is we're all focused, of course, on President Trump because he can say those kinds of things like perhaps no other global leader can. But do you expect this G20 to be successful in the context of the perception of South Africa that you've outlined?
Well, listen, I mean, the reality is, of course, is that, countries understand that, they're hardly oblivious to the mercurial nature of Trump's perception of the world and foreign policy. So none of them take seriously the administration's baseless claims about widespread persecution and white genocide. But again, I think the challenge that South Africa has, that when it looks around the world, is that, 20 years ago, people would be leaping to South Africa's defense, and they would be talking about how, South Africa has outsized importance and influence globally. It was very much an icon of the liberal international order that was set up, after the Second World War. And its emergence from kind of the horrors of this racial oligarchy into this sort of non-racial democracy was an incredible inspiration for countries around the world. But when we look at the G20 now and how is South Africa perceived, well, it's going to be very, very difficult. I mean, you look at an issue like inequality. I mean, that's supposed to be a main platform of the G20. But is South Africa really being honest about itself? Is the president being honest about itself, about the nature of inequality in this country? I mean, it seems a strange platform to base this of G20 on.
But I guess let me be more direct. Trump's not coming. Do you expect others in the G20 to attend? Do you expect, for example, President Xi to come? Will Lula come?
Well, I don't have any insight on that, but I think we should recognize too that there has been a bit of a change in terms of global fora. I mean, if you look at the COP, the big climate summit in Brazil right now, I mean, other than Lula, almost no world leader is present. Whereas, 10 years ago in Paris, virtually everyone was there. And so I think, these things are losing a bit of their luster. Now, I have no insight in terms of exactly who is coming. But there's no doubt that if you're trying to figure out how do we build a sort of consensus document that everyone signs up to with some sort of binding agreements, that does become pretty challenging when governments start to send, the kind of second team and the third team. But in terms of exactly who is coming in terms of world leaders, I'm not sure. It would be sad if that was the case. And I haven't heard anything to the effect that others are going to follow President Trump's lead and not come.
We'll see how it goes. Appreciate your time. As always, Dr. Terren McName, as I say, Global Affairs Specialist and Senior Fellow at the Montreal Institute of Global Security.
7:02.
Coming up, the big interview.
Look ahead to the mini budget. I'm going to insist on calling that because the rest is just too much of a mouthful. That to come after this Eyewitness News brought to you by Khalix. Khalix, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is EWN.
Fearful Brown Mokgotsi asks for more security to go to Parliament, and two brothers implicated in AKA's murder are heading to South Africa following a drawn-out extradition process. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Parliament says it can't offer extra security to ANC fixer Brown Mokgotsi before his appearance in Parliament. He is expected to face the ad hoc committee investigating police corruption. Mokgotsi has asked the committee about beefing up security for him and his family as he prepares to answer to allegations that he tried to influence operations through his political connections. Both Mokgotsi and Vusmuzi Matlanga, who is behind bars, have written letters to Parliament listing their demands for security and not just a police escort. Babalondenza reports.
Brown Mokgotsi, the Northwest businessman who's linked to alleged police corruption and interference, is expected to take the stand later this month. But Mokgotsi has concerns about his security for him and his family. This comes after gunmen opened fire on his car in Vosloorus last week. Ad hoc committee chairperson Sovet Lechanyane says Mokgotsi raised the matter in a letter to the committee.
And then we had to get our legal team to respond to his letter to say Parliament can only provide transport and accommodation services. Issues of security and any other matter, they lie outside of the services that we can provide as Parliament.
Lechanyane says Vusimozi Matlala also wrote a letter.
But he was also asking questions about where is he sleeping in Cape Town. He doesn't want to be transported by the police and so on and so forth.
The committee will now meet with Speaker Tokoti Dize tomorrow before finalizing its witness program. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News.
Meanwhile, the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry has heard allegations of a rogue Ekurhuleni Metro Police unit involved in murder, theft and corruption. Former EMPD Deputy Commissioner Rivo Spies yesterday testified about members attached to the now disbanded SWAT unit who were involved in at least 5 criminal cases. This includes the murder and subsequent cover-up of a man in Brakpan in 2022. The unit previously reported to acting EMPD head Julius Mkhwanazi, who has been linked to crime suspect Vusmuzi Matlala. Oren Singh reports.
Despite trying to rid EMPD of corrupt officials allegedly involved in serious criminal activities, there has been very little action taken by the city of Ekurhuleni to deal with the rot within the Metro Police. Acting EMPD head Julius Mkhwanazi is accused of having run a rogue unit within the Metro Police who have been involved in crimes dating back to 2022. Former EMPD Deputy Commissioner Rivo Spies told the Matlanga Commission that despite criminal cases being probed by IPID and in some instances EMPD officers arrested, Mkhwanazi and his units enjoyed political protection.
Brigadier Mkhwanazi and his unit, the VIP protection side, the specialized services and all of those officers were very seriously protected by the city manager, by the head of legal, by the head of HR.
Mkonazi was placed on special leave last month following the allegations made against him in the commission. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
2 siblings linked to the murder of rapper Kinnan aka Forbes and celebrity chef Tibelo Mutswane are expected to arrive in South Africa from Eswatini this morning. Brothers Malusi and Sianda Ndimande were arrested for the high-profile murder last year. They will stand trial with 5 co-accused in court in KwaZulu-Natal. Forbes and Mutswane was shot dead outside a Durban restaurant in 2023. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
It's understood brothers Malusi and Siyabonga Ndimande escaped the country shortly after the double murder in February 2023. Law enforcement authorities have confirmed that a team will leave for Eswatini this morning and bring the pair back to face the music. They are expected to land at the King Shaka International Airport in Durban. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
And supporters of a prominent Zimbabwean politician arrested in South Africa for allegedly being in possession of explosives believe he is being framed by his political rivals. Job Sikala, a former member of the Zimbabwean parliament, made his first appearance in the Pretoria Magistrates Court yesterday. Officers found the explosives in his car in Pretoria last week after receiving a tip-off. A group of Zimbabwean activists gathered outside court yesterday to show support for the Citizens Coalition for Change leader. Alfara Mushwana was there.
Zimbabwean politician Job Sikala's legal team has told the Pretoria Magistrates Court that the explosives allegedly found in his vehicle do not belong to him. One of his supporters, Baron Mahlangu, says he believes the former member of parliament is being framed.
Job is not a stupid person that he can take those explosives and put it in his car. Yeah. That's why I say Job is innocent and they will investigate, will find out who's behind this.
Another one of his supporters, Trust Ndlovu, has echoed similar sentiments.
A person of his caliber, a person of his intellectual capacity, with his consciousness to law, he wouldn't take such a stupid decision to take the explosive in his car.
Sikali will return to court tomorrow for a formal bail application. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Gold is trading at $4,143.85 an ounce. The rand is at 17.15 to the dollar, 22.59 to the pound, 19.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.94 a barrel.
In Tshwane, there's a slow-moving traffic in Montana on Sefako-Makgato Drive between Enkeldoorn and the N1 heading into the Pretoria CBD. That's coming from Capital Park. Expect about a 20-minute delay on Paul Kruger between Frontina Street and Struben. Kempton Park roadworks causing more than an hour delay. R24 westbound between the R21 Atlas off-ramp and Barbara Road.
And in your sport, Coach Hugo Bruce says Saturday's friendly with Zambia gives him one last look at the team before AFCON selection. And Springbok Lord de Jager face a disciplinary committee later today as the side gears up to face Italy on Saturday.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with scattered afternoon showers. Johannesburg starting at 13 degrees, peaking at 22. Pretoria and Vereeniging both at 14 degrees, peaking at 24. The top story in EWN this hour. Parliament says it can't offer extra security to ANC fixer Brown Mokhotsi before his appearance in Parliament.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
With a passion for business and community, Khaliks is constantly looking for opportunities to help others. To date, Khaliks' Suit Trade-In campaign has helped provide suits to 2,000 job applicants and 100 retail interns. And you can get involved too by bringing in your old suit and trading it in for a brand new one at 30% off. Khaliks will then clean, mend and distribute to those who need a start in business. Khaliks, for the businessman who knows what he wants.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
9 minutes after 7 o'clock. I'm just listening to the story in Eyewitness News. Remember, we told you about the appearance of this former Zimbabwean member of parliament and quite an elderly man. Job Sikala is a former MP, as I say, in Zimbabwe, was arrested in Pretoria. Officers found explosives in his car following a tip-off. He's no longer a member of parliament, but he's now arguing that while I was set up, they wanted to frame me. And some of the things that happen when you think about who crosses the border and how can be quite extraordinary. Remember in 2017, was it? In November 2017, when the now president of Zimbabwe, Emmerson Mnangagwa, was fired by Robert Mugabe as his vice president. Remember the story he told? There was even a book that was published about it, that he attempted to leave Zimbabwe via official border posts but was blocked. And then at some point he was stuck in no man's land because they wouldn't let him leave, nor would they let him enter back, and that he walked for 10 hours through a landmine-infested area in Mozambique, using his knowledge as a former guerrilla fighter because he'd operated in that area before, swimming through crocodile-infested rivers to escape Robert Mugabe. This was really quite a tall tale. He's president now. So when people tell you they're being framed, or they tell you some long, dramatic story about who wants them in or out, grab some salt, pinch. Grab some salt and pinch.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Walking the talk indeed. I want to get you up to speed if you missed some of the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry yesterday. The focus was on one Rivo Spies, who is, of course, the former Deputy Ekurhuleni Metro Police Chief, testifying about a number of things, including, of course, this CAT VIP Services, a company at the center of questionable municipal security contracts, and how they were never even on the EMPD's approved tender list. But boy, oh boy, did they get the contracts.
EMPD issues public tenders for provision of security services to EMPD facilities. You are aware of that?
Correct. It's for security guards to protect council premises.
And he drew the commissioner's attention to the fact that in 2020, the EMPD appointed 10 service providers for that purpose and provided a list. And for the record, that will be Chief Mapiea's Annexure JM 13 and JM 14. So there is a list of service providers.
Correct, Commissioners. There's in terms of the MFMA, the Finance Management Act, there's every 3 years a tender that is published and then awarded to security companies to protect council premises. And the tender runs in a 3-year cycle.
Yes.
He also went on to say that he had had no prior knowledge of CAT VIP Services or Bad Boys Security. Both companies, of course, now under scrutiny for questionable municipal contracts. He did not know them then, but he certainly knows them now.
You are given in details by Brigadier Mkwanazi regarding the engagement of entities such as Bad Boys Security. And unless it goes by another name, you can accept that according to JM 13, tendered by Chief Mapieye, that entity is not one of the 10 listed there. Do you know who Bad Boys Security is or was at the time?
Bad Boy Security is a security company which I know of them. They're in Johannesburg and a little bit on the East Rand as well. I don't know further than that. I know them. It's like a private security company that I sometimes see their vehicles. And CAT VIP Security at that date and time, I didn't know them at all. I know them now.
Okay, and equally so with CAT VIP Security, they don't appear on that list.
Correct. They're not part of Bad Boys or CAT VIP Security is not one of the tender-approved security companies for guarding services at all.
Gosh, Karabuchali, did you know there was all that money to be made in providing security?
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
702 weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Keeping an eye on Bromfontein, protests erupted at University of Witwatersrand yesterday. Students demanding action against alleged gender-based violence. The pressure continues with another march at 9 o'clock this morning. It's expected, and the SRC has suspended one of its members, the Office of Innovation and Community Development, following serious sexual assault allegations. Now, there are many people who can look back on the apartheid years and say perhaps they didn't know the extent of the horror. Let's remind you that on this day, 1969, the Rand Daily Mail exposed life in the Bantustans, revealing a state of hunger, disease, and poverty under apartheid and cementing its role as a fearless anti-apartheid voice. El Shaddai Christian School in Sharpeville, exams for grade R to 11 have been postponed after a 16-year-old, Lerato Mochadibane, took his own life following years of what he said was bullying. Police are investigating. Parliament's ad hoc committee heading to Pretoria to hear from Vusumuzi Cat Matlala, accused of attempted murder and alleged links to senior police officials. Hearings expected around the 26th of November, so he's not going to Cape Town. They are going to Kgosi Mampuru. And happy 63rd birthday to the actress Demi Moore, who captivated audiences for decades. Who can remember or who can forget the movies Ghost, A Few Good Men, G.I. Jane, and Striptease.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by OUTsurance. SMS out to 451442 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand.
Well, bongs, at this stage in Kempton Park, roadworks causing more than an hour delay. R24 westbound between the R21 Atlas off-ramp and Barbara Road. Also about an hour delay in the Sunwood Park Boksburg area. Roadworks also causing that delay on the N17 westbound. This is approaching Rondebolt. Durban Deep, Rudeport, expect about a 20-minute delay. Randfontein Road between Collet and Miles Stoker. And finally, in the Midrand, there's slow-moving traffic, actually about a 30-minute delay on Annandale Road between Dane and Zurfontein Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
The OUTsurance Pointsman can't help your child with their algebra homework, but they can ease traffic congestion. So you get home in time to help your kid figure out why X equals 7. Now, with the OUTsurance Pointsman on the roads over the past 20 years, we can all get to where we need to be quickly and safely. OUTsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. This is in proud partnership with 702. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702. Up next.
The Big Interview.
PSG Asset Management sees opportunities others have missed. Like that stock, once up, now down. We thought good price and started our in-depth research there. Turns out it was a quality undervalued company working hard to restore market confidence to deliver soaring returns when they did. Because for us, a good price is just the beginning. To partner with us, contact your financial advisor or visit psg.co.za. PSG Asset Management Pty Limited is an authorized financial services provider and part of PSG Financial Services Group. Licensed controlling company.
Take the ultimate spin with 10Bet and me, Andy Lengube, to win a luxury BMW X3. Join 10bet.co.za. Play selected games. Every 10 rands you play earns you points. Hit the top of the leaderboard and the prize could be yours. T's and C's apply. 10Bet is a licensed betting operator and supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 shall be permitted to bet. Betting can be addictive. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. License number 921096661.
For the first time ever, the G20 summit is being hosted on African soil, a global moment of solidarity, equality, and sustainability with Africa at the center. On Fridays between 6 and 9 a.m., we'll bring you the G20 correspondents desk on 702, and it's proudly courtesy of RMB and FNB, proud sponsors of this year's G20 summit. The G20 correspondents desk on 702, brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
702.
The Big Interview
with Bongani Bingwa.
18 after 7. All right, so just before 6 o'clock, we spoke about squandering a good story to tell. South Africa over the last 30 years has had many moments to really shine on the global stage, perhaps above our weight, but we've also scored some own goals. And so as the Finance Minister, Enoch Godongwana, delivers his awaited medium-term budget policy statement, I'm going to call it the mini budget for ease, he's expected to update the nation on revenue and spending forecasts. But how much room does he have to maneuver, and what could we guess if we gaze into our crystal ball. We've invited two guests this morning, both economists. Isaiah Matlanga is the chief economist for RMB, and Lulu Kruger is the PwC chief economist. Both of you, thank you for your time and welcome to our program. I'll start with you, Lulu Kruger. It used to be called the mini budget. I'm still going to call it that. It really is, of course, the mid-year review of the country's fiscal performance.
Yes, Bongani, you're absolutely right. Mid-year review of fiscal performance, but also probably more importantly, the view of what we should expect the next 3 years. So it is really the opportunity to look at longer-term plans, longer-term progress, and how we are going to make some of the structural adjustments that we need to make. So it's not as exciting, I suppose, as the February budget, which we ended up, finally getting over the line. Yes. But actually, for economists and for people that really watches the fiscal space, it is a very, very important point to show the direction of the next 3 years.
And last week's GNU boss parade likely to ensure no embarrassing disagreements with the minister like we did see in February.
Yes, it is unlikely, mostly because the big announcements will probably in any event wait for February. So we might get some direction around, potential will there be tax increases in Feb, which we probably will see. But it's not the type of, or the point in the budget cycle where you expect massive announcements. It's more important that we get an idea of where the growth forecast will be going, which is most likely downwards. How we're doing in terms of tax collections, which is a little bit better. And then, the general direction of cyclical windfalls, which we are expecting a few, versus the longer-term structural reforms. And then, very importantly, of course, is the fact that we're off the grey list. That's a big one.
I'll come back to that in a moment. T's and C's, if you will. Isaiah Matlanga, let's bring you into the conversation. Let's look at what Minister Godongwana has to deal with. And let me use this metaphor, perhaps. What deck of cards has he been dealt with, and what hand can he play?
Look, I think if we look at what markets are expecting, the big one would be some announcement on whether the National Treasury will give a go-ahead for the lower 3% inflation target. So, colloquially, you could say the budget will likely be about monetary policy because we know tax revenue collections are doing extremely well across all of the revenue categories except exercise duties that are underperforming, except fuel levies that are underperforming. Everything else is either on budget or above what was budgeted at the beginning of the year. So there's not really much of a budget story in the tax revenue collections because it's doing very well. On the spending side, we also have good control of spending. Treasury will run a primary surplus for the third year in a row. That is a good story to tell. Reforms, we know they have been updating us from Operation Vulindlela. It's really about the progress. So what we're just going to listen for is the monetary policy story, whether we get a lower inflation target or not.
Let's pick up on this excise story bit, Isaiah. How much are we doing around the illicit economy, and how much are we losing as a result of it?
Look, that is always a contentious issue in terms of measuring the illicit, economy, but also even measuring the informal economy itself. But what we can see from SARS numbers is they have been able to collect a lot more tax revenues than what was forecasted for in a 1% growth economy, which speaks about significant efficiency gains as far as the ability of SARS to collect the taxes which are due, which are in the economy, which suggests there is economic activity that has not been captured until now.
Let's talk a more general picture then. The recent narrative of underperformance, rank incompetence, and the failure of state-owned entities is one that hasn't necessarily gone completely away. Isaiah, how much impact will that have on what the minister can deal with?
But the big one will remain Transnet. Further support down the line over the next 3 years, perhaps it might be required. As far as Eskom is concerned, it turned into profitability this year, which means its finances are getting much more stable, of course, on the back of support that was provided to it a couple of years ago, which continues to remain in place. And we're seeing a gradual repairing of the SOE space, which means perhaps less need for state support, which should be good from a credit rating perspective, which we don't think, by the way, that we are going to get a credit rating upgrade, at least not yet. But perhaps next year there is a strong case for a rating upgrade because we're seeing the institutional pillar across the board improving, which suggests credit rating should also lift the rating.
Didn't S&P signal recently that in fact things might be going in the right direction?
They do have us on positive outlook, but on account of growth, which is still at 1%, that's where we're a little bit skeptical. But everything else has improved. We see even investors are telling us bond inflows into our economy, equity inflows into our economy. We're off grey listing. You have to lift two fingers and use those two fingers to count the negatives, and you are not going to finish them, which means there is really nothing beyond the low growth that could say we are not due for an upgrade. But as we know, there is always some delay that follows.
Yeah. Lulu Kruger, I can use more than two fingers, though, to be fair. Look at the issues with water boards. Just recently, the Water Affairs Minister was threatened with legal action, and only then did she act against one of them. Many are still riddled with allegations of corruption. We know municipalities generally are still failing and not collecting tariffs. The appearances by representatives of various municipal councils staffed with people who couldn't even explain what it is they do. That story kind of undoes some of these positives Isaiah has been talking about.
Yeah, I think, Bongani, there's, as Isaiah has said, if you look at markets and some of the reforms and improvements that we're seeing, if you are an investor looking at South Africa, it certainly looks like a good option. But what we are seeing is that there's almost a disconnect between what is happening in the markets versus what a lot of ordinary South Africans experience. And that is a tricky thing that we seem to struggle to fix. So, if you're talking about water boards, the municipalities, etc., that is where most ordinary South Africans experience the hand of government, if I could call it that.
But wouldn't that concern, to come in there, sorry Lulu, wouldn't that concern potential investors, because that is what they'll have to interface with? That is the coalface of delivery.
The longer term investors, the types that really want to, put roots down in South Africa, that is absolutely true. If I'm considering expanding my manufacturing capacity in South Africa, you are absolutely right. And we've seen quite a few companies actually saying to us, but that is a massive issue that they need to deal with. If you look at companies like some of the food manufacturers, etc., that are in the smaller towns, that is what they're telling us that they are dealing with. And although the relationship between government and some of these entities have improved significantly, it's not solved some of the challenges. And if you speak to ordinary South Africans, what all of us are saying is that corruption is taking a lot of money and funding away from areas where it should go. So that remains a massive issue that government seems to be dealing with in some patches, but not across the board.
Consequence management is ultimately the point, Isaiah Matlanga, because no matter how much money he talks about tomorrow, if it's leaking, if the sieve is leaking, then what's the point?
Absolutely. Consequence management are important, but we are also learning out of things like Matlanga Commission, the parliamentary ad hoc committee that is bringing all these things to light. And perhaps on the back of that, if we see consequence management, it's going to help to boost confidence. But investors, they look across countries, particularly the offshore ones. They see far worse in other countries, and then it becomes a relative assessment of where is it better compared to others. So yes, we have issues, out of our historical, mismanagement. But if we look at what is being done now, it does give, some confidence that we are improving from where we come from.
Look, we could all argue that we're probably in a better place than we were exactly this time a year ago. I appreciate you both. Azam Matlanga is the RMB chief economist. Lulu Kruger, the same role at PwC.
EWN Business.
Business news now. Muteo Faripe, ShopRite sales drop. Sales demand decreasing?
Yeah, ShopRite's share price plunged on Monday after the country's largest retailer delivered a disappointing trading update. Now, despite reporting an 8% increase in group sale, the company's sales prices went down and were below targets. The company opened 81 stores in the quarter, the majority of which were opened in its core South African supermarket segment. This division increased sales by 7.9% compared to 11.4% at the same period last year. The SA supermarket segment's recording a selling price inflation of 1.4%. This was down from 2.6% in the first quarter of 2025.
Telkom posting solid results?
Yeah, South Africa's third largest telecoms firm, Telkom, says it expects an increase in earnings for the 6 months ended in September. During the first half of the year, the group reported double-digit growth for basic earnings per share and headline earnings per share, which is a profit measure in South Africa. Telkom Group's basic earnings per share are expected to go up by between 43 and 51%, while headline earnings per share are expected to go up by between 57 and 65%. For the financial year ending in March this year, Telkom's group revenue was at 44 billion rand, up 3.3% from the previous year.
Where's the rand?
Rand at this hour still quite positive at 17 rand 16 cents against the US dollar, 19 rand 84 cents against the euro, and 22 rand 59 cents against the British pound. The price of gold at $4,140 an ounce, or platinum is at $1,586. Brent crude at $63.87 a barrel. More business after 8.
This Eyewitness News is brought to you by OUTsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask them for 500 Rand. Some figures coming out of basic education. Sfiso Zulu, good or bad?
It's not quite good, Bongani. The department says 30% of pupils are unable to read for understanding by the time they complete grade 3. The statistics are contained in a latest study by the Funda Uphumelele National Survey, which investigates early grade reading outcomes across all official languages in the first 3 grades. It's highlighted that in grades 1, 2 and 3, only 30% of pupils can recognize letters and read words for understanding. Jabulile Mbata reports.
The research was done in a space of 6 years by experts, linguistics, universities and some foundations. It reveals that boys in grades 1 to 3 are underperforming more than girls nationwide. Poorer schools are lagging behind, and provinces like Western Cape and Gauteng are ahead of the rest. Speaking at the launch in Pretoria, Minister Siviwe Gwagube says to fix this, teacher empowerment and targeted strategies are needed. She says strong home language reading skills lay the foundation for bilingual proficiency and success in English and later other subjects.
Funda Uphumelele has deliberately placed correct emphasis on home language because children learn to read more effectively in the language that they understand, in the languages of their homes. When you learn to read and join letters.
She says in the years to come, the department wants all children to know how to read to understand by the time they reach grade 3. Jabulile Mbata, Eyewitness News.
Action SA says while it agrees with controversial civil group Operation Dudula's message against undocumented foreigners, it doesn't condone its illegal methods. Operation Dudula has recently come under fire for blocking foreign nationals from accessing public health facilities. The Johannesburg High Court last week ordered the police to enforce an interdict against the group for its practices. Tabiso Goba reports.
According to the latest census data, there's about 2.4 million people of foreign descent living in South Africa, less than 4% of the country's total population. Action SA President Herman Mashaba says as mayor of Johannesburg, he was vilified for raising concern over the rise of illegal immigration into the country.
Here we are
how many years, 7 or so years later, everyone is talking openly about illegal foreigners, that they're a curse to our nation. We have to deal with them, but we've got to deal with them within the legal framework. One of the core values of Action SA is the rule of law. So we are not the ones to take the law into our own hands.
Mashaba says he recently met with Operation Dudula leaders and told them to work within the country's constitution to achieve their objectives. He says Action SA is also doing the same within parliament, provincial legislatures and the municipal councils where it's represented. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
In the Western Cape, foreign nationals affected by a fire at a refugee camp near Maitland have reiterated calls for resettlements in other countries other than South Africa. Last week's blaze at the Wingfield site destroyed a marquee tent housing more than 200 refugees. The cause of the fire is still being investigated, but it's suspected it may have started in one of the wooden structures that was used as a kitchen. Dutuzelo Nene reports.
Occupants living at Wingfield have been allowed to use some of the structures on the perimeter of the site that were not affected by the fire for accommodation. They are part of a group of refugees that protested outside the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees offices in Cape Town in October 2019, demanding resettlement in countries other than South Africa. One of the occupants, Faraja Augustine, says the South African government needs to do right by them.
If they come and conduct a personal interview, then they will know this one is qualified to be repatriated, or they will see this one is qualified to be integrated in the community, or this one will be qualified to be resettled in the third country.
Ndutuzelo Nene, Eyewitness News.
And Syria is joining the American-led International Alliance Against the Islamic State just hours after its president held a historic meeting with American President Donald Trump. Trump hosted Ahmed al-Shara at the White House last night. The U.S. formally removed al-Shara from a terrorism blacklist days before the man it previously listed as a wanted criminal was due to visit. He came to power after Syrian ruler Bashar al-Assad was toppled last year. Trump says the United States will also allow Syria to resume operations at its embassy in Washington to further counter terrorism, security and economic coordination.
We want to see Syria become a country that's very successful, and I think this leader can do it. I really do. I think this leader can do it. And people said he's had a rough past. We've all had rough pasts.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers. The temperatures are at lows of 13 and 14 degrees, peaking at highs between 22 and 24.
Kempton Park roadworks causing about an hour delay. R24 westbound between the R21 Atlas off-ramp and Barbara Road. Also roadworks causing an hour delay in Sunwood Park. N17 westbound approaching Roundabout. Germiston bumper-to-bumper traffic. N3 northbound between Elands Interchange and Linksfield Road.
The top story this hour, the Basic Education Department says 30% of pupils are unable to read for understanding by the time they complete grade 3.
You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer or get a 10-minute quote from OUTsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2025 Hyundai Exter, 65-year-old Helena now pays only 398 Rand a month. And for her 2024 Haval H6 4x4, 50-year-old Priya pays just 1,178 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS OUT to 45142. That's OUT to 45142. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Clement Manetella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
It's a special broadcast of the Clement Manetella show live from Westbury.
If you just go back to that protest and people was fighting for a basic human right where SAPS came in and treated us like dogs. SAPS was here all over the place, every day in our community. Why can that not happen when our children's lives are being lost here on the streets of Westbury?
Yeah, Councillor Marilyn Smoos, Westbury Ward 82 Councillor.
Clement Manetella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actis-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Hi, this is Carol Shabalala, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. It's more fun when it's for fun. Playing responsibly is always a winning strategy. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
702. WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Mr. Bongani Bingwa. I don't trust police. 2 incidents. One, I had a side hustle, Korea Baki. It was hijacked. Found as the criminals were offloading. The driver confirmed, even the first police member who was at the scene confirmed that there were 32 goods in the buggy. We only found 15 goods. Number 2, the car was towed to the impound. I was shocked. You know, when you are relieved that your buggy has been found, it was not stolen, the treatment that you get there, it's like you have to pay a bribe, you know. They're indirectly telling you that in order for us to assist you, you need to pay a bribe. So I don't trust police at all.
Morning, Bongani and listeners. How much do we trust the police? 0. When it comes to them stopping you on the side of the road, when it comes to them pulling you over, when it comes to the 0. Chances that they are police are probably minimum. Chances that they are corrupt police and just want bribes, huge. How much do we trust them? 0. And this needs to be raised. It's a huge problem in this country.
Good morning, Bongani Bingwa. I don't trust police at all. I don't trust, whether it's during the day or night, I don't trust the police at all. You know, one day they chased me while I was driving a Toyota Baby Crest, 1982 model. It's a classic. And, you know, when I arrived at the nearest filling station, they just left. They didn't even come to me or anything because of, you know what, I thought they were there to hijack me. So, in fact, now I don't trust police. Unfortunately, I don't trust police when I'm Baba from the Val. May you have a splendid day. Thank you.
You have a splendid day too, Baba from the Val. So a number of the stories that are coming through are based on personal experiences. I'm curious about anyone who has a story that is positive where the police have shown up and assisted them. And I just wonder in general, hearing what we are hearing from the Matlanga Commission of Inquiry, I mean, that story yesterday of officers seizing copper cables, pretending to confiscate them, and then the whistleblower reports this, the guys are arrested, they're released on bail, he's then killed in a so-called botch hijacking the very morning of their release. How much does that kind of thing, even if you don't have a personal story that is a bad experience, how much does that dent your confidence? I go to my local police station. I've gone a number of times to, you know, get sworn statements, affidavits, that sort of thing. They always seem helpful. Sandringham Police Station is the local one I go to. They always seem helpful. They always seem eager to assist. They're friendly, but not in an inappropriate way or at all. Is that your experience generally? And how does that compare with your perception?
702.
What's the question?
What's the question is brought to you by OUTsurance. A chance for you to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. So first 1,000 Rand for the answer, then 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask OUTsurance for 500 Rand. Let's go to Petunia, who's got today's answer. Petunia, what is today's answer, please?
Hi, Bongani. The answer is 63 years.
63 years is your answer, Petunia. And tell me, do you have yourself a quote from OUTsurance?
Yes, I do.
Your biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to OUTsurance and 702. Thank you for that answer. There you have it, 63 years. It is. What's the question? Call us if you know on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
That little matter of a 5 million Rand promise might be part of Bafana Bafana's motivation tonight. Cindy Paluta.
Perhaps.
Might be on their minds.
Right, Bafana taking on Zambia in a friendly at Nelson Mandela Bay on Saturday. Coach Hugo Bross says it's a friendly, but the result still affects their world rankings, and so he won't use this game to experiment with the team selection for AFCON and the World Cup.
You know, we are in preparation for AFCON. It's not the moment now to do some experiments of... I have to focus everything on AFCON, and that's why maybe some players are not there. And that's why also I want to have a good preparation and have a good game again against Zambia.
Springboks are expecting an extremely tough battle against Italy on Saturday. Bok assistant coach Tony Brown admits their main aim is to finish with 15 on the field.
15 men on the field, is what we always want to do. So just making sure we don't have any of those moments where we lose a player and we have to play with 14. We've got to commend the team. The amount of effort and the physicality that the boys played with was huge, and we always felt as though we had France under pressure.
It's Tuesday, so the injury list starts. All Black Caleb Clark misses Saturday's game with England after failing a head injury assessment. Ireland without Jamie Osborne for the rest of the year with a shoulder injury. He misses the upcoming games with Australia and the Springboks. In tennis at the ATP Masters, Taylor Fritz beat Lorenzo Musetti 6-3, 6-4. Sinner Cruz passed Aguila Sim 7-5, 6-1. Here's Sinan playing in front of the Italian crowd.
You know, this country gives me a lot. Representing Italy, it has always been a huge honor, and it's nice to give something back also, you know, and when we have a chance to play in Italy, you know, in Rome and here, it is great, and I'm extremely happy to be here.
Today, Alcaraz plays Fritz Musetti against Domina. In cricket, the T20 Challenge today, the Lions are going in search for a first win, travel to the Warriors, while the Northwest Dragons, also without a win in 4 games played, are up against Tuskers. International action, Pakistan against Sri Lanka in a first ODI. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
As leaders in renewable energy finance, Nedbank has a track record spanning over 100 years. From pioneering large-scale solar and wind farms to financing complex energy infrastructure in emerging markets, Nedbank offers clients deep sector expertise, combined with the ability to navigate the unique challenges of Africa's just energy transition. See money differently. Nedbank. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider.
At Chamberlain's, there's something for everyone. From building supplies for the home renovators to garden essentials for the homemakers. From power tools for the DIY doers to painting supplies for the patio Picassos. We even have coffee for the slightly sleepy and snacks for the young ones. And for the ones who can never quite find what they're looking for, we have you covered too. With our promise to find and source whatever you need. Chamberlain's, famous for hardware since 1903.
EWN Traffic. 14 minutes before 8 o'clock, and this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Citroen. You can get a C3 for as low as 262,000 Rand and an Aircross from 279,000 Rand with a service plan, and you'll get a 4-month payment holiday. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply. There are delays in Sunwood Park. Garabo, what's going on there?
So leaving Brakpan, heading towards Germiston, we still have those roadworks in the Sunwood Park, Boksburg area causing more than an hour delay. Bongs, this is on the N17 westbound. Yeah, and this is between Carnival City and Rondopole Road. I guess the rain is also making matters worse through there. Kempton Park, also roadworks causing about an hour delay. R24 westbound between the R21 Atlas Road off-ramp and Barbara Road. Germiston, bumper-to-bumper traffic. N3 North between the Inlands Interchange and Linksfield Road. In the Calvin area, that's Alex heading towards Midrand. Roadworks also causing about a 20-minute delay. This is N3 northbound between London Road and the Butler Interchange. And finally, Midrand, expect about a 30-minute delay on Allendale Road between Dane and Zerfontein Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Thinking about rolling in a new Citroen C3?
Did you just pause the ad?
Yep, like how we pause your installments. That's 4 months, no payments.
I got you. And the C3's got rear sensors, reverse camera, a warranty, and service plan.
Press pause on payments and play on life. Get the Citroen C3 from 264,500 and enjoy a 4-month payment holiday. Visit citroen.co.za. T's and C's apply.
702
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Assurance. Please tell me, what's the question? If the answer is 63 years, let's go to Olivia in Germiston. Olivia, what's the question?
Hi, Bongani. The question is, how old is Demi Moore turning today?
Yes, indeed. And she doesn't look a day older than 33, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
Absolutely stunning actress. And I've come to love the older Demi Moore. I want you to listen to this really, really touching clip in which she talks about visiting her ex-husband, Bruce Willis, who, of course, as you know, is now suffering from dementia. And she was asked on CBS's Sunday Morning about how Bruce is doing and what it means to be with somebody and around somebody living with dementia. As you listen to that, Olivia, you can no doubt celebrate that 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Assurance and 702. It really is a touching story about how, well, not even a story really, reflection, shall we say, from Demi Moore.
So today is the day that you usually go visit Bruce?
When I'm in town, I try to go over every week.
Moore has 3 grown children with ex-husband Bruce Willis, who's now living with dementia.
The important thing is just to meet him where he's at, as opposed to being attached to who he was, how he was, because again, that only just puts you in a place of loss versus being in the present, meeting him where he's at, and finding the joy and the loving of just all that is where he is.
And sometimes that is the hardest thing to do, is it not? This Black Friday, Assurance is confident they can beat your car insurance premium. If they can't, ask them for 500 Rand cash. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. With Assurance, you could get monthly premium savings or at least 500 Rand cash. Make today the day you switch and save. SMS out to 45142. So that's out to 45142. Assurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
What do partners of the Gates Foundation do when facing the world's toughest challenges? They keep going. From discovering a plastic drape that helps detect excessive postpartum bleeding faster, to developing better bed nets to kill malaria-carrying mosquitoes, to researching an RSV vaccine that could save hundreds of thousands of children. For every problem, there are people who prove that progress is possible. The Gates Foundation, partners of human potential. Learn more at gatesfoundation.org/keep going.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
702.
702. What's gone viral?
With Kabazela.
Catch up now with the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella.
Let's talk about Christmas tree time. Is it really? Are we already there?
I mean, some people have already put them up in their homes. I mean, if you go to the shopping centres and the malls, they're up and the lights are up and all that kind of stuff. And it's nice. It's getting all festive. But when it comes to your own home and your personal space, when do you put up the tree? And I mean, while we're talking about this, I've seen a couple of videos on TikTok where, people are posting videos and saying, are you okay with your wife wanting you to put up the tree early? And then the response of men is, I have no choice. I have absolutely no choice. You think I have a say? No. So that's what I wanted to ask this morning. When do you...
Why is it never the thought that it might be the wives who are long-suffering whose husbands want that tree up early?
Well, I haven't seen videos yet, so, it's open for discussion.
702 really Land, shall we put Kabazela in his place? If you're a wife and you are the long-suffering one, having to deal with this man's obsession with Christmas trees, do let us know.
Yeah,
we see you.
And whose responsibility is it? Is it the man of the house? Is it the wife? Is it then you share it with the children to come and do it? I mean, I remember back when we were young, my dad would put the tree up, and then the decorations and all that kind of stuff was left up to me and my sister to do it. And now in my home, it's me, basically. I do it all. But I've seen some really clever people. They take their tree from the obviously when the time comes to bring it down, and instead of taking all the decorations off and, undoing the tree and all that kind of stuff, they put Glad wrap and they wrap the tree as it is, and then they store it as it is. And then when it comes to putting it up again, you just take the Glad wrap off, and then voila, it's there. All the hard work is done. But I suppose if you've got kids, it probably takes the fun out of it, hey?
Yeah, I mean, look, and one of the things that's fantastic is I'm a firm believer in establishing traditions in your home. And for as long as I can remember, we've been putting up the Christmas tree every year on the 1st of December. And last year, so she would have been 15 then, my now 16-year-old decided that the tree was now entirely her responsibility. I remember a time when I would have to lift her, or she'd have to climb on a chair, and all she wanted to do was put the star at the top. That's all she wanted to do. And last year, the Christmas tree was left to her to decorate entirely. I just had to I'd fetch it from, the Zozo hut at the back. Yeah. And just put it up. The hard work done, she did the rest. So that kind of thing is... Yeah,
pour yourself a glass of wine, put on a song.
And express my opinions. To the left, to the
Do
left.
it like this. Put it there. Yeah.
Have you met my children? All right, when do you put up your Christmas tree? Who is responsible for doing so in your household? And then, Kabazela, let's talk about opening car doors.
Some of us are very respectful and others not. I mean, if you go look at the sides of your car doors, you'll see the little dings that you have. And it's because some people, when they open up their car doors, are just, I don't know, they're in their own world, and then they end up bumping the side of your door. So I saw this video of this young kid. He gets out of a car, but he is so cautious, and as he's stepping out of the vehicle, he almost puts his hand on the side of his door so that it almost creates a barrier between the car that he's in and the car next to him. So very, 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 very respectful of the car next door, which I thought was really, really, really good to teach from a young age as well. So, I wanted to ask people this morning, when you are in the parking lots and you're getting out of your car, are you conscious of the car next to you? Are you always very, very careful not to bump the car that's parked next to you? Or, does it just happen and it's like, oops, oh well, move on and do what you have to do? And how many dents have you got on the side of your car doors?
I'm not sure if many people will readily admit to dinging somebody else's car, but many of us will look at our vehicles and know that somebody's done it. How careful are you when opening your car door, especially when you're parked next to other vehicles?
702. Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile, is the Christmas tree and the decorations, is that a big thing in your home, in your household?
I'm trying to introduce it to my life slowly. Last year I did Christmas lights. So this year I'm hoping I will buy the smallest tree and just put it out there. I'm trying to introduce...
The tiny trees should be banned. No. No.
You know
Johanna,
what?
no. I'll take you to the Matlanga Commission.
I'm introducing it to myself nice and slow.
No, small trees should be banned.
You get me the big tree then.
What feedback? Should we focus on the show?
Lots of reaction today on our question about trusting the police. Oh my God. So there's so much trust in the police as there is in a dodgy Wi-Fi connection. So people are very skeptical. They are not...
Hold on. There's as much trust in the police
as in
a dodgy Wi-Fi connection.
So if you don't trust your
Wi-Fi... Is that one of the listeners?
No. That's
you.
Me. You know me, why? So many 702 lenders, they don't trust the police at all. Some even shared stories of being hijacked by people wearing police uniform. And there's a kicker. Quite few 702 lenders say they'd rather keep driving than stop when a police car flags them down.
And maybe one of the things we need to do is get the official word once more about how to deal with that. Given the mistrust, given all that we are hearing and given people's suspicions, because I'm not sure if it's legal to resist being flagged down when the police want you to stop and they're real officers with real concerns. I'm not sure if driving away is necessarily the brightest of ideas. I understand people perhaps driving to a filling station or the nearest police station, but that assumes the officers that are trying to stop you are on board with what you are doing and not thinking you're trying to flee from the law. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And we did run a small poll in the producer's booth on trusting the police, and it was a 6 out of 10. It's not great, not terrible, just sitting there awkwardly in the middle. And some 702 lenders say they've never had any bad runs with the police, so there's still a little bit of hope there and there.
I understand you've also got some feedback from Wits.
Yes, I do have some feedback from Wits. We received a voice note from the spokesperson, Shirona Patel, responding to the incident that took place yesterday over allegations of rape involving a newly elected SRC member, and this is what she had to say.
The university can confirm that students gathered last night to protest against gender-based harm. The protest was sparked following the allegations of rape of a student by a newly elected member of the SRC. As far as I know, a complaint was reported last night to the Gender Equity Office by a fellow student. The Gender Equity Office will manage this in line with the university's rules and policies. The university urges all students and others to report any form of gender-based harm to the office in person or online. The students are then marched into Bloemfontein last night and then dispersed peacefully thereafter.
All right, you would have seen images, of course, on social media in particular of those protests in Bloemfontein yesterday. More expected this morning, but that's the official word of the university as far as that is concerned. Up next, a conversation about diabetes, and in this next hour, we speak to Jonathan Butler.
This is EWN.
KT Molefe is back in court for all his known cases, and there's a call to review the law on witchcraft suspected to be playing a part in the rape of children. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Alleged crime kingpin Katiso KT Molefe will report to court this morning for a consolidation of the cases against him. Molefe was granted 400,000 rand bail by the Johannesburg High Court last month. He is accused of the murder of several high-profile individuals, including Opa Sefoka, known as DJ Sambodi. Khomoso reports.
The last time Katiso KT Molefe attended proceedings at the Alexandra Magistrates Court, he was in police custody and was brought for judgment on bail, which was denied. But after the Johannesburg High Court overturned this decision, this morning Molefe will come to court as a free member of the public. Today's cases are set to be consolidated ahead of his trial. When Molefe was arrested last year, it was in connection with the murder of Vereniging engineer Armand Swart. Police further linked him through firearms to the murders of popular musicians DJ Sambodi and DJ Vintos, whose real names were Opa Sefoka and Hector Buthelezi. Today, Molefe will make an appearance alongside the alleged hitmen. The state wants Molefe to be tried for the matters against him in a single court. Khomoso Modise, Eyewitness News.
Retired Ekurhuleni Metro Police Deputy Commissioner Rivo Spies has called for EMPD officers to be subjected to lifestyle audits. Spies has been testifying before the Matlanga Commission since Friday last week. He continued yesterday claiming the officers have been identified in many criminal matters with little to no repercussions. Oren Singh reports.
Retired EMPD Deputy Commissioner Rivo Spies says some EMPD officers are living beyond their means, raising questions about how they fund their lavish lifestyles. Testifying before the Matlanga Commission yesterday, Spies, who is currently employed with the Tshwane Metro Police, called for lifestyle audits of Metro cops.
You start looking at how officers live. They drive luxury vehicles. They live luxury estates.
He says current law allows for lifestyle audits to be conducted on municipal officials and not Metro Police.
That's something that need to be, according to me, made compulsory, is that you cannot be a law enforcement officer and not be vetted to do your work.
Spies will continue with his testimony this morning. Arun Singh, Eyewitness News.
The Commission for Gender Equality has called on Parliament to review the country's almost 70-year-old law on witchcraft as part of its investigation into statutory rape and teen pregnancies. Commissioner Princess Eureka Mokhane says acts practiced under the guise of religion but which harm the rights of children also need to be called out. The Committee on Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities continued its engagements yesterday with organizations and civil society groups on the matter. The committee is looking to make recommendations to Parliament aimed at providing greater protection to children. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Civil society groups have presented Parliament with similar findings that statutory rape matters are often covered up by families themselves, reluctant to report perpetrators because of the financial benefits they often derive to stay silent. Despite being obligatory in law, health professionals and educators seldom report cases due to ignorance or fearing reprisal. But Gender Equality Commissioner Eureka Mokhane says witchcraft can't be discounted as an influencing factor in child rape.
We find that there are key business individuals, there are key community leaders who are told that if you want to have more power, if you want to have more wealth, sleep with virgins.
The Witchcraft Suppression Act of 1957 was last amended in 1970 to prescribe punishments for such acts. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And supporters of a prominent Zimbabwean politician arrested in South Africa for allegedly being in possession of explosives believe he is being framed by his political rivals. Job Sikhala, a former member of the Zimbabwean parliament, made his first appearance in the Pretoria Magistrates Court yesterday. Officers found the explosives in his car in Pretoria last week after receiving a tip-off. A group of Zimbabwean activists gathered outside court yesterday to show support for the Citizens Coalition for Change leader. Alfara Mushwana was there.
Zimbabwean politician Job Sikhala's legal team has told the Pretoria Magistrates Court that the explosives allegedly found in his vehicle do not belong to him. One of his supporters, Baron Mahlangu, says he believes the former member of parliament is being framed.
Job is not a stupid person that he can take those explosives and put it in his car. Yeah. That's why I say Job is innocent and they will investigate, will find out who's behind this.
Another one of his supporters, Trust Ndlovu, has echoed similar sentiments.
A person of his caliber, a person of his intellectual capacity, with his consciousness to law, he wouldn't take such a stupid decision to take the explosive in his car.
Sikhali will return to court tomorrow for a formal bail application. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Pretoria.
Gold is trading at $4,143.85 an ounce. The rand is at 17.15 to the dollar, 22.59 to the pound, 19.82 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $63.94 a barrel.
Butler, Pretoria traffic heavily backed up N1 South. This is between the Proof Plus interchange and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange. Also heading into the Pretoria CBD coming from Capital Park. Expect about a 30-minute delay on Paul Kruger between Frontina and Struben. And in Sunwood Park, we have those roadworks causing more than an hour delay. N17 westbound between Carnival City and Rondebolt.
And in your sport, coach Hugo Broos urges his players not to take it easy against Zambia in Saturday's friendly. Springbok Loto Yaga faces a disciplinary committee later today as the side gears up to face Italy.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon scattered thunder showers. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 24 degrees. The top story in EW and the Sawa. Alleged crime kingpin Katiso KT Molefe will report to court this morning for a consolidation of the cases against him.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
On 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Seven minutes after 8 o'clock. Two stories in the news at the moment, both involving children. The Commission for Gender Equality calling on Parliament to review a 70-year-old law on witchcraft. Now, what does that have to do with anything? No, it's not about the regulation of people on brooms or loaves of bread. But there are people, sectors of our society, who, in engaging in practices of witchcraft, target children for rape and sexual abuse as a way to empower themselves. What kind of madness is that? I don't care how much luck you think you need, how much wealth you think you need, how much trouble, how much help you think you need. Really? Through the destruction and damaging of a child? What ancestors, what power will you summon that would demand that of you? And then we heard just a little earlier on, as far as the basic education department, children, 30% of learners cannot read, cannot understand what they read, even after completing grade 3. They don't know what they're talking about. Grades 1, 2, and 3, 30% of those learners at times don't even recognize the letter. Alphabet. They don't know what those letters mean. If you want to see a society and really judge what it stands for, think about what it treats and how it treats its children and the elderly. I'm emotional about this. Children who can't understand, can't recognize letters, can't read for meaning, who are targeted for witchcraft. What does that say about us?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
A little earlier on, of course, we spoke about the midterm budget policy statement that's going to be happening tomorrow in Parliament. Minister Enoch Odongwana really giving us a sense of where we are at this halfway point. Muteo Kharipe, I'm going to bring you into this conversation. I asked my two guests after 7 o'clock, what deck of cards has he been dealt? What hand can he play?
I think they're more favorable this time around, and it's on a technicality. Because South Africa pitched its budget very, very late at around May, it means we've spent less, which looks good when it comes to fiscal consolidation. But in terms of revenue collection, we're still doing quite well. I think what he has to answer to is what the budget is going to do to grow the economy. We've heard from the IMF, we've heard from the SARB. Our numbers are not looking too great, just above 1%, not enough to create jobs in this country. But we're also listening to commissions, to the committees in Parliament as well, hearing some of the
reasons why.
Scary information. You know, when you hear the Treasury talk about a health budget, do you wonder now whether it reaches where it needs to go or it goes into the wrong hands? When you hear about a police budget or the hiring of more police, are they hiring the right people firstly? Are the budgets going to the right place? Now we're getting a full sense of how the country works. And because we now question where that money is going to land. And he has a lot to answer to that, especially with state-owned enterprises.
Consequence management. On a lighter note, Kabazele wants to know, when does the tree go up in your household? Who's responsible for putting up the decorations? Karabochali?
Definitely not me. I hardly do decorations, but I see my sisters have started doing that. But I'm not keen, eh?
You're not keen on the tree thing? Not a part of your life?
No, thanks.
Couldn't care. Just don't get a small one or we won't be friends. Muteo?
It's always a debate with us because my wife is really, really big on Christmas.
Yes.
And
Tell me you've got a big tree?
It's big enough for us. What do you mean by big tree? That's relative.
It's not the small, tiny little things.
No, it's not that one. It's
okay.
Far bigger than that.
Okay, good.
So now we've been having a back and forth around when the tree should go up. She says we're late. And I'm like, let's wait until December.
1st of December?
1st of December.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
We're late. And I even don't like walking through the shopping aisles and seeing all these decorations.
You're not a Boney M person.
Dude.
I am a Boney M person, but at the right time. Don't throw Christmas at me while I'm still thinking about deadlines. And I'm still like, guys, give us a second, you know?
So you're more of a daddy cool than Mary's boy child.
Hi, Kavazela. My kids are already asking that we put up our Christmas decor, but I agreed that we will do it only after their exams. So in 2 or 3 weeks' time, we will put up, we got those solar lights that will go around the house. I'm excited about those ones. Happy Tuesday. Tuesday. Choose to be happy day.
Good morning, breakfast team. It's Lindy here again. I don't know if you remember me from last year. I said you guys need to make sure your Christmas trees are up by the 1st of October. I hope that you have put those Christmas trees up. If you haven't, you're already late. Love you. Bye.
Good morning, Bongani. Junior from Pretoria. Bongani, I cannot tell you how excited I get to putting up my Christmas trimmings, as an old friend of mine used to call it. I wait for the first weekend in December, and then I change my entire decor in my house. Everything changes to Christmas. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it again this year, and I'm very, very sad. Usually second week in January when I have to take it down. So yeah, that's me. I absolutely love Christmas. It's my favorite season of the year.
What is it about Christmas? There's a street I know in Bryanston. This is not in a gated community. The street I know in Bryanston where outside the entire street, people are putting up lights, and you see it quite early on. I think, in fact, they're probably up already. It's not in a gated community. There are no extra protections for these things, but they're out there every single year. And it's something of a tradition, I imagine, in that neighborhood. Do you live in a place where you can do it and get away with it and it, doesn't get stolen? Because that's also something to consider. Why do you love Christmas? Those that do. 1st of October. Guys.
That's pushing it.
Because even for me, part of the reason it stays up very long isn't because I love Christmas. It's the job to take it off.
Take it down.
EWN Traffic.
All right, the CWN Traffic is brought to you by OUTsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo, let's catch up with the traffic. You told us about delays in the Waterkloof area. How are we doing in that area now?
Yeah, no, things are not looking too good at this stage. Waterkloof heading towards Centurion. You can expect about a 20-minute delay. N1 southbound between the Proefplaas interchange and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange. Midrand also about a 30-minute delay. This is on Allendale Road between Dane and Zierfontein Road, while in Durban Deep Roodepoort area you can still expect about a 20-minute delay. On Randfontein Road between Colet and Milestalker. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The OUTsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a businesswoman on the way to the airport after sleeping through her alarm. Bags in the back, boarding pass on the dashboard. She prays she'll make her flight. Hope I make it. The OUTsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's the potential closing of a big deal. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the OUTsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. OUTsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Take us through how you managed to work this out, how much the level of compliance there has been to your recommendations.
It's important for me to remind the listeners that the hearing or the investigation itself canvassed 4 main critical areas, and these form part of the investigative framework, which also then informs the conclusions, findings, as well as the recommendations.
Brilliant, truly.
The Midday Report
With Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actis-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
At Isuzu, we know every delivery, every kilometer, and every load is building something bigger. This truck month, set your business up for success with special deals across the Isuzu N and F-Series ranges. Don't get left behind. Speak to your Isuzu truck specialist or call 08600 Isuzu and secure your truck month deal today. Isuzu, with you for the long run. T's and C's apply.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints, affordable, lasting luxury.
For the first time ever, the G20 summit is being hosted on African soil. A global moment of solidarity, equality, and sustainability with Africa at the center. Tune in this Friday between 6 and 9 a.m. for the G20 Correspondents Desk, brought to you by RMB and FNB, proud sponsors of this year's G20. Get the latest news, views, insights, breakthroughs from the summit. The G20 Correspondents Desk on 702, brought to you by RMB and FNB, divisions of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
19 after 8 this Friday is the 14th of November. It will be, of course, World Diabetes Day. A reminder about one of the most silent yet deadly conditions that affects millions around the world at every stage of life, from childhood to old age. And the theme this year is diabetes across life stages. Pitso Mulimane is an activist living with the long-term disease and joins us to share his story. Pitso, very good morning to you. It's great to chat to you. Welcome to 702 Breakfast.
Good morning, Bongani, and thank you so much for having me, and a lovely morning to your lovely listeners.
42 years with type 1 diabetes. That's an incredible milestone.
Indeed, Bongani, an incredible milestone there, especially given the state of diabetes care, decades ago. Bongani, I must be honest with you, it has been a tough journey. In the past, the prognosis was often bleak, with healthcare workers telling my parents that I might not live more than a few years. I was diagnosed at the age of 7, Bongani. Didn't know anything about diabetes. No one from my family. The first one in the family at the age of 7.
Goodness me, because we often expect this to be something that affects people later in life. Please, I'm going to ask you a favor. I need you to move your phone receiver just a little bit slightly away from your mouth, because there's a little bit of a distortion in terms of the sound, so we can hear you clearly. So you found out at the age of 7, and what has that journey been like for you? I mean, the idea of daily insulin injections, even as a child, I imagine that was tricky.
Indeed, Bongani, you can imagine. Even yourself at your age, for sure, you've got a phobia of injections. Now, the doctor telling me that, no, you have to take this throughout for the rest of your life because there's no cure now. Bongani, it was difficult. I was hiding it from, other people at school, friends, other family members, because it was a taboo for a young black boy in rural areas to be told that you have this disease, which used to be called the white person's disease, a disease for, obese people, disease for rich people, as poor as I am, and then that was just a myth, And shockingly, Bongani, I remember at the ages of 13 and 15, I asked God to take me, because I couldn't take it anymore, I didn't have any knowledge. My parents didn't have knowledge. My mom was trying. May her soul continue to rest in peace. And, I was bullied even at school by friends. I was called ushugela, injections, diabetes, all sorts of that, Bongani. And I don't know, by the age of 18, 19, I had a minor stroke, one of the complications of diabetes.
Sure.
And then, I don't know how many times I was comatose during my journey, woke up in ICUs. It was difficult. And all this, Bongani, was because of lack of knowledge. Until I had to adapt and want to know what is this disease, and then starting to learn more about this disease. And my life changed drastically.
What were some of the biggest changes that came with that knowledge?
Bongani, there has been challenges, but overcoming these hurdles largely relies on self-management, discipline, Bongani, education, and a strong support system. I mean, diabetes requires constant daily attention with no holidays, no breaks, and all this can also, Bongani, if you don't have that support, can lead to significant mental and emotional turnouts, over decades,
Peter, just to be specific, I'm just curious, what were some of the biggest changes you had to make? Because you talk about discipline, what does that mean for you? What were some of the things you can no longer do now that you have more knowledge?
Alcohol, Bongani. I had to stop taking alcohol, eating unhealthy. I had to stop eating anything that has sugar. For me to replace sugar, Bongani, I rather take, I'm now taking berries. I'm taking strawberries if I've got a sweet tooth, because diabetes will also give you a sweet tooth. And I had to stop eating white pap. As black people, we grew up eating white pap because why? White pap spikes the sugar because it has starch. I had to stop eating white bread. I had to stop eating white rice. I eat brown rice. I had to stop even dumpling, your samp, and those were the food that we are used to eat. So I'm no longer eating them. I had to cut them. I'm now eating a lot of vegetables, Bongani, and men don't really enjoy vegetables. But I'm eating those now. Those are the changes that I've done. I exercise a lot, Bongani, and then I'm taking my medicine, insulin. I inject every day, twice a day, 7 in the morning, 7 in the evening, consistently.
Gosh. And you've been dealing with this for 42 years. We thought we'd bring in Pitso Mulimane, who is an activist for diabetes, living with long-term diabetes. And you heard there some of the changes and choices he's had to make. No alcohol, eating healthy foods, no sugar, no rice, bread, samp or pap. Of course, the theme this year is diabetes across life stages. And I think that's important information for families and parents to have in order to support particularly those young ones living with diabetes.
702, The World View.
With Adam Gilchrist.
Catch up with Adam Gilchrist now. News from elsewhere in the world. Adam, let's start with murders in a South American prison.
Yeah, here we are in Ecuador, in the El Oro prison in Machala in southern Ecuador. I have a feeling we've been there before because it's a couple of months ago that 13 prisoners were killed inside El Oro. But Ecuador is not the only place with overcrowding in prisons and gang warfare behind bars. And in particular, in this place, El Oro, gangs like Los Lobos and Los Choneros are at work. They've been declared terrorist organizations by the United States. A clash between Los Lobos and Los Choneros saw armed police move in. They tried to take back control of the prison. It was all out of control. 4 prisoners had been killed, 30 injured. As the police and security guards and prison officers moved through, they went up to the 3rd floor of the prison and found another 27 had been killed, 27 hanged from the rafters on the roof. There they were swinging. So it's partly overcrowding, it's partly gang warfare, but it's also partly just a lack of control. And don't we all have problems similar, if not exactly as extreme as Ecuador?
Goodness me, some of those details are really, really worrying there. Now, Adam, the BBC has always been the gold standard of broadcast news, no possibility of bias. They claim to be the absolute lodestar for neutrality. Is it necessarily so?
Well, yeah, they've certainly taken a knock. I have friends who absolutely think the BBC is too, as they put it, lefty, too socialist or too pro-Labour. But I also have friends who say the other way around. So sometimes you think, well, if you're accused of being too lefty or too righty, maybe you are right down the middle and therefore that's the way to be, but not in this case. It's a problem because they basically in a documentary took one end of a speech by Donald Trump and glued it together with the other end of a speech. So it made it look as if Donald Trump was absolutely calling on supporters to fight for their country and go down to the Capitol building on January the 6th, 2021, and fight for a country lest they lose it. But in fact, they missed out in the course of this edit the whole middle section in which Donald Trump had talked about acting legally and peacefully and urging people to applaud our brave congressmen and women and senators and so forth. So they didn't entirely put the context in place. They didn't necessarily completely change what he said, but they changed the context and removed a balancing statement. And this has now cost the BBC their very top guy, the Director General, their very top woman in news, the CEO of news. They've both resigned, but not enough for the American president. So Donald Trump is now threatening to sue the BBC for $1 billion. They have until Friday to retract what Mr. Trump calls false defamatory coverage. Of course, retracting a documentary that's been around for a year will be hard. You can't remove it from existence because lots of people will have downloaded it around the world. Plus, defamatory, how would you prove that your reputation had suffered, particularly if you're Donald Trump? And whose law would he act under, US or UK? Because it could get very complicated. We don't even have to mention Prince Andrew in the instance of that. It's certainly a knock to the reputation of the BBC, and there are plenty of people in this country, in the UK, whose knives are out, saying this corporation needs to change and slim down and start doing the right things.
And Adam, tell me about the mystery French fedora man.
Did you spot the fedora man at the time of the Louvre heist? He was in photos.
I did not know.
I don't think. No, I didn't. And yet there he was. Anyway, so what we know is that suddenly, in the midst of the Louvre heist, remember that from 3 weeks ago, the police are outside the museum in Paris, and along strides this terribly dapper-looking young chap in a suit and tie and an overcoat and a fedora hat. Not unlike the bad guy who gets thrown off the roof in The Untouchables, if you remember that look, a bit 1930s. So the questions were going around, particularly on TikTok, but other socials as well. Who is this guy? Was he one of the gang? Is he actually a super sleuth, a detective helping the police? He looked very calm and in control and kind of in charge. Well, now it turns out there's been a bit of rooting around by French journalists, and they found out that this natty man, the dapper dandy, who prompted all sorts of theories, was actually a 15-year-old schoolboy called Pedro Elias Gazon Delvaux, who is a fan of Sherlock Holmes and Hercule Poirot, and who just loves dressing in that kind of attire, and who happened to be walking past the Louvre after the robbery had taken place that day. As Pedro has now put it, I like to be chic. I go to school like this. He is not a part of French police inquiries.
And nor a Michael Jackson fan either. Otherwise, he'd have been singing Smooth Criminal.
Yes. Going backwards with his moonwalk. Should have done that.
Adam Gilchrist with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
Well, let's talk about Mercedes-Benz, the incoming CEO leaving before he'd arrived.
Yeah, and a rather strange turn of events. Mercedes-Benz South Africa's CEO designate AB Khotle has resigned, stating personal reasons. Khotle is leaving the German car maker's SA operations less than a month before he was set to take over as CEO. Now, Khotle, who joined Mercedes-Benz South Africa in 2017, was named in June to succeed Andreas Brandt as chief executive of the German luxury car maker's South African operations. Brandt was scheduled to relocate to Stuttgart, Germany on November the 30th for a global production role overseeing 7 Mercedes-Benz manufacturing plants. He will now continue as the Mercedes-Benz SA chief executive until further notice. Khotle currently serves as the company's executive director for human resources and corporate affairs and will step down effective at the end of the month. The company did not provide any further details about his personal reasons in the statement.
All right, where's the rand?
Rand at this hour, 17 Rand 16 cents, still in a good position against the US dollar at 19 Rand 84 against the euro, and at 22 Rand 59 cents against the British pound. The price of gold at $4,133 an ounce, while platinum is at $1,584. Brent crude at $63.71 a barrel. Stephen Grotes with more this afternoon.
Go straight to the news desk. Sfiso Zulu, what you got at this hour? And of course, stay listening because we're going to be speaking to Jonathan Butler.
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. A small group of residents in the white Afrikaner-only settlement of Kleinfontein are refusing to pay their levies and taxes to the board of directors. The group, calling itself the Kleinfontein Residents Association, wants to pay their rates directly to the city of Tshwane. This is the latest battle that has rocked the Pretoria North settlement, which is also in a legal battle against the municipality for its existence. Thabiso Koba takes a look.
Kleinfontein operates as a share block scheme. A holding company, Kleinfontein Underblock, owns all the land and individuals buy shares to use a specific portion, usually to build their houses. However, the residents never own the homes they live in and have to pay taxes and levies to the Kleinfontein Board of Directors. Chairperson of the Kleinfontein Residents Association, Hank Cilia, says a group of about 90 residents are no longer happy with the current setup.
We want to pay, but not to them, because I can't trust them with my money. They don't pay it over to Tshwane. Now Tshwane want to demolish this place, and they want to tax us 7 times now. No.
Kleinfontein spokesperson Dani Dabea says the Residents Association is a, quote, informal pressure group that doesn't represent the majority of the people living in the settlement. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
The Judicial Commission into Truth and Reconciliation cases says the delay in proceedings is in the interest of the hearings. The commission was set to begin yesterday, but proceedings stalled. The NPA and Justice Department informed the Commission of the intention to apply for a recusal for Chief Evidence Leader Advocate Ishmael Semenya. Both have flagged Semenya's involvement because he previously acted as an advisor for the NPA and has represented them in TRC-related cases. The Commission has agreed to give them until the 26th to make representations. Commission spokesperson Lionel Eddendorf.
Unfortunately, we do consider this an unfortunate delay, but this is in the best interest. And until we see what they are arguing and what certain departments and entities are saying, then we would know how to deal with it.
The organisation Undoing Tax Abuse says South Africa is far from ready to implement the AARTO Act. AARTO's comments come a day after the Transport Department postponed the implementation of the Act, with the initial launch previously set for the 1st of December. Under the Act, minor traffic offences will be addressed through fines and demerit points, while major offences will go to court. AARTO CEO Wayne Duvenage says the delay is inevitable.
So we are not surprised, and that matter alone, with some municipalities pulling out of AARTO, makes it a bigger problem for the Department of Transport. So we'll have to see what unfolds. We don't even think that they will meet the July next year deadline, but let's see.
And a female TikToker accused of helping Mali's army has been seized and killed execution style by suspected jihadists. Miriam Sissi, said to be in her 20s with over 100,000 TikTok followers, posted videos about life in her Tonka hometown in the northern Timbuktu region and often expressed support for the army. Her death has shocked the nation, which has been battling a jihadist insurgency since 2012. State television says she had simply wanted to promote her community and support the army through her TikTok posts. Mali is grappling with the fuel blockade imposed in the capital by jihadist groups that have severely disrupted daily life, with the African Union expressing deep concern. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with afternoon showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 22 and 24.
Kempton Park roadworks still causing about an hour delay. R24 westbound. This is between the R21 Atlas off-ramp and Barbara Road. Sunwood Park also roadworks causing about a 30-minute delay. N17 westbound between Carnival City and Rondebold. And if you're leaving Soweto heading towards Rudeport, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. N1 northbound between the Diepkloof interchange and the N17.
The top story this hour, a small group of residents in the white Afrikaner-only settlements of Kleinfontein are refusing to pay their levies and taxes to the board of directors.
For 3 consecutive years, Nedbank has been recognized as the best investment bank in South Africa at the Global Banking and Finance Review Awards. Whether helping clients navigate cross-border risks or building financing frameworks that support market reform, Nedbank is a partner in more than just capital. We're part of the architecture supporting Africa's renewable energy future. See money differently. Nedbank. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider.
Hi, this is Alia Itzebet, Hollywood Bet's brand ambassador. A reminder that you can still shoot for the stars while playing responsibly. If you or someone you know needs help, call the South African Responsible Gambling toll-free counseling line on 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop.
In case you missed it, 702 was in conversation with Santam about Santam's partnership with the G20 taking place in Johannesburg.
We are participating in the Disaster Risk and Reduction Working Group, and through that we are able to share some learning, good practices, and what we've got from our flagship program, like Partnership and Risk and Resilience. So we hope that the learnings that we are able to share with the G20 countries were able to be utilized, most importantly, to emphasize the role of partnerships between government and private sector.
Santam is a proud sponsor of the G20 Summit. Santam, this is freedom. Santam is an authorized FSP, a licensed non-life insurer, and the controlling company for its group of companies.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Radio 702 and Bongani. My name is Marjorie. I'm a total Christmas person. At my previous workplace, I was the only one that used to decorate my door, my office. I'll have a big Christmas tree outside the office with chocolates and sweets. Coming home, I decorate almost everything is Christmas. Everything absolutely in and out. It's just Christmas. And I put everything up on the 25th of November each year. It's a complete change for until January, second week of January. Thank you.
People just clearly love Christmas. Kabazela wants to know, when does your tree go up? And who's responsible for all the decorations? Cindy Paluta? Is that a big thing in your household?
I think I did an Instagram post about this last year. Our Christmas tree will go up this weekend because I'm busy from now till December. It's going to go up this weekend. Whether it gets decorated or not is up to the children. And I think I posted on like the 20th of December last year to say the tree's there, guys. It's in the corner. The decor is in the boxes next to the tree. And I said to my kids, Father Christmas ain't coming if there's no tree decorated for him to put the presents under. And you guys, you want to see little elves get swinging around that Christmas tree within 60 seconds. Okay, they only decorated the front side of it. If you turned the tree around, it was naked. But yeah, it's up to them. And they're in exam time now, so don't expect them to finish it. But I'll get the tree out and I'll get the decor out so that when they're ready and they're procrastinating and not studying, they can put up the decor.
Ours always goes up on the 1st of December, and I'm no longer responsible for the decorations.
But I think it's just such a joyous time of year for such a very short time that, to almost go, okay, because my mom's got this rule about 10 days before, 10 days after, or 12 days before, 12 days after. Like, that's the rule. And I'm like, no, it's such a beautiful time. Let's wind down. Yeah.
Let's extend it. I'm just moved by how we went up from a little bambino who only wanted to put up the star at the top of the tree. She didn't care about the rest.
Yeah.
Because she couldn't do the rest, quite frankly. And now she says, no. You just fetch the tree from the storeroom. Everything else to do with the tree is mine. So as Kabazela says, I sit there with my glass of red wine and I supervise.
Is your tree this is such a stupid question. I can't believe I was about to ask you if your tree is color coordinated. I was about to ask the person who irons their dishcloths if the tree is color coordinated, because my tree is not color coordinated.
Yeah.
And my husband's very upset about it because he says it should either be like all like pink and white or blue and white or whatever. But mine is a collection of all these stuff that I've collected over the years. So everything that they've painted at school. So it does look like a bit of a Christmas elf vomited Christmas decor on it.
I always think of it as rainbow. But last year, my daughter decorated and she only used the black and the gold.
So you see,
only
it's
black
classy.
and gold last year. But that's because of her, not me.
Yeah.
Mine was also
mine's
all over the place.
Got painted pottery decor and a little bit of a pasta necklace and all that kind of stuff.
EWN Sport.
All right, Bafana, all preparation at this stage.
Yeah.
Cindy Paluta.
So first for AFCON and the World Cup, but AFCON first, 5 weeks away. Bafana prepping. They play Zambia in a friendly this Saturday in Nelson Mandela Bay. Coach Hugo Brosh hasn't finalised his squad and says this is more than a friendly.
For me, 75% of the selection is made for AFCON. It's only to see a few positions, maybe this one or maybe the other one. But that is the most important thing for me, that we don't have any doubts anymore and that we can start the preparation on the 8th of December with everything we knew and that we don't have surprises anymore.
Well, Springbok fans still in a high after the Boks' dominant performance against France, but the team has had to move on. They play Italy this weekend, assistant coach Tony Brown.
France game was a massive game. It had been built up for a long time. It's a big week for us. There's a lot of media around France trying to get revenge and things like that. And us as a team, we just focused on our performance, doing everything we could to win that game in Paris. Now we've done that. The whole team today has moved on to Italy.
Ireland centre Jamie Osborne has a shoulder injury. He misses the tests with Australia and South Africa. All Black Caleb Clark will miss this Saturday's test with England due to concussion. At the ATP Tennis Masters today, Alcaraz is playing Fritz Musetti against de Minaur. Yesterday, Fritz beat Musetti and Sinner Cruz past Aguilar Sim. Remember last week you were saying, I can't believe that player's out.
Yeah.
So this is the round robin tournament that you're thinking about.
Because I was like, is that...
It came a week later, ATP Masters, While former women's number one, On Jabeur, announced she's pregnant with her first child. Jabeur had taken a sabbatical from tennis in July for her own mental health and was expecting to come back. But on her Instagram, she said her return might take a little longer than expected. And in T20 Challenge cricket today, you've got the Lions, who've played 2 games so far in search of a first win. They're playing the Warriors. The Northwest Dragons, who've played 4 games without a win, take on Tuskers. And there's an international game today, Pakistan playing Sri Lanka in a first ODI. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
All right, let's wrap up the morning's traffic. It's 8:45. There have been delays in a lot of places, Karabotali. I think Kempton Park, you mentioned a little earlier on. How are those delays now?
Still looking pretty bad, Bongs, I'm afraid. In Kempton Park, those roadworks causing about an hour delay all the way from OR Tambo International Airport. That's on the R24 westbound. In Sunwood Park, also roadworks causing about a 30-minute delay. N17 west between Carnival City and Rondebold. Leaving Soweto, heading towards Roodepoort. There's heavy delays. This is on the N1 northbound between the Deep Kloof interchange and the N17 in Calvin. Roadworks also causing about a 20-minute delay heading towards Midrand. N3 north between London Road and the Butler interchange. Woodmead travelling into Sandton. There's traffic pressure M1 south from the Butler interchange to Athol Oaklands. Midrand, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay on Allendale Road between Dane and Zeerfontein. In the city of Tshwane, Waterkloof, traffic heavily backed up N1 south between the Proefplaas interchange and the R21 Flying Saucer interchange. And finally, heading into the Pretoria CBD, expect about a 30-minute delay in Capital Park on Paul Kruger between Frontina and Struben Street. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
At Auto in General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto in General business insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Flight Centre's Big Red Sale is back. 21 October to 14 November. Save up to 50% on tours, 35% on cruises, and massive deals on Thailand, Mauritius, and the Maldives. Even local flights from 1,900 Rand return. Now that's a win. Plus, 2 kids stay and eat free on selected breaks. The world's waiting. The deals are calling. So, get to your nearest Flight Centre store today. T's and C's apply. Flight Centre, your centre for travel.
You can become a victim of a legal problem. Wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS Legal to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Coming up on the Clement Manetella Show
on 702.
Clement Manetella is in the hot seat this morning between 9 and 12. You look like you had a fantastic little short left.
I did.
I'm all about finding those hidden spots in South Africa. So out with it. Where
I mean,
were
it's
you?
not going to be hidden anymore if I announce it on 702. Now I'm going to go there one piece and I'm going to find Bongani.
Were you at your uncle's
Wait,
farm?
mine's.
Oh, all right. Enough of the madness. What's on the show?
Coming up on the show, we're going to start with the 702 open line. And I'm going to be asking the listeners about what Solidarity have done, putting up this ad about race-based policies. And for them, it's a protest because they put it on the road that's leading to the G20 venue. And
they're relentless, though.
They are very relentless. I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, these are the collaborators who betrayed this country for Donald Trump. But the question I really want to ask is, on what basis does the JMPD then remove that poster? Or what do you call it, a banner? Because Solidarity says we've paid for it. Why didn't JMPD do its own internal work during the process of paying for this so that they can raise any...
Must leave it alone.
On what basis are they
They
removing
must
it?
leave it alone because even if they disagree, they'll be playing directly into the hands.
Into their hands.
And they'll amplify it in ways that nobody will pay any attention to if they just leave it alone.
Yeah, that's the conversation we're going to have. And then between 10 and 11 o'clock, we're in conversation with NASA. And then at 11 o'clock, we do our World of Work feature. Today, we're discussing remote work because we're seeing that it's been on the rise, particularly in this year, 2025. And then we'll look at 11:30 for our health and wellness feature. We're discussing the role and effectiveness of herbal and traditional medicine in healthcare.
Clement Manetella between 9 and 12.
You could spend 10 minutes hunting for the TV remote or get a 10-minute quote from OUTsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 45142. Like 29-year-old Sana, who now pays an incredibly low 796 Rand a month for her 2025 Jatura Dashing. With OUTsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. SMS out to 45142. Get used to getting more. After switching, 65-year-old Helena now pays only 398 Rand a month for her 2025 Hyundai Exter. Not an OUTsurance client yet? Get a quick and easy quote today. If OUTsurance can't beat what you're paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch it this Wednesday at 10 to 9. We're speaking to Exclusive Books, their CEO, Grattan Kirk, in conversation with us. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and together make a difference.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
Oh man.
Are you ready to go, baby? I said, if you're ready, come on and be.
Oh, if you're ready now. Man, music lovers, trendsetters, lifestyle enthusiasts, get ready for an experience like no other. The third edition of the Music and Lifestyle Expo 2025 happening from this Friday, 14th and 15th November at the Sandton Convention Center. It's a 2-day extravaganza, and you can hear from some of South Africa's most iconic artists: Lira, Ringo Madlingozi, Thandiswa, Mazwai, The Muffins, Major League. But there is only one legend, Jonathan Butler, singer-songwriter, who's talking to us now from LA. So I imagine it's in the middle of the night. Thank you so much for staying up for us.
Yes, it is in the middle of the night, and I know it's early morning for you in Joburg, so it's very exciting to talk to you. I stayed up and I made sure that I'm in my right mind.
Listen, my journey with your music starts, my goodness, probably around as maybe a 9-year-old in the early 80s. 7th Avenue, of course, I've just played now. If you're ready, come go with me. That was, of course, a collaboration. I remember seeing you on Solid Gold when Lies was the big hit. I think Dionne Warwick was hosting.
Oh, my goodness.
I have followed your career. I have heard things that people like George Benson have said about your abilities and your music genius, and it's just so fantastic that you are still performing. You still come out to South Africa, and you still treat us
I
do. With your fantastic music, but you just come and give your all. And what a career, what a life you've had, hey?
Oh my gosh. Listen, I gotta thank God for all these years that He has graced me to I just turned 64 in October, and had a big celebration in Cape Town, my hometown, and so it's been a long journey, but one that I'm so grateful for, because I've been spared to continue. I just performed in Hampton, Virginia. We just got back. My wife and I just got back today, and so we're pretty pooped. But I think I have to say, I just have to thank God for keeping me in the way that He has, because I love music. I love performing. It's what I know best. It's my safe space. I've always been a performer. And most importantly, I love seeing people, I love to make people happy. I think that's the joy that I get out of it is making people happy with music. And it's a gift that I'm really grateful for.
You are, if I may steal that biblical phrase, a prophet with honor in your hometown. What does it mean for you as, a boy from Athlone, to have achieved all these accolades, to have made this great music, to be this international icon, and you look back at 64 years, what has life taught you? If you were to distill it down to one idea, one thought, what have you learned?
I've learned to persevere. This is not a race that you run fast, because if you want to run fast, then you have to run on your own. But if you run slow, then I'll go with you. I'll go with you. So I've learned from other people, and I've seen in the music world and industry that we are in, some of those people that like to run fast and then dwindle quickly, run out of steam quickly. I think this is about endurance. This is about your inner strength, staying strong even when things are tough in the music business, when there's changes, and the older you get, when I was young, those music you were playing, If You're Ready, Come Go With Me, 7th Avenue, I was very young back then. And so the older you get, you realize, you either evolve and reinvent yourself, and as for myself, I'm a listener. I'm a student of music. I love music. I'm a lover of music. So I'm always when I'm in Cape Town, I get excited playing with the young musicians because they keep me excited. They keep me they keep me young, and it's about endurance, man. It's about running your own race, and don't be concerned about other people's success. Yours will come if you endure the race and keep making consistently good music. That's what I've learned when I was a kid. I used to listen to LPs. I used to listen to LPs back then when it was vinyl, and I could see who's playing on bass, who's playing drums. And so that's the time that I came up in the music business. So
listen,
and nowadays they just make singles. They don't make LPs anymore. So it's a different world now.
So let's talk about your musical journey because, of course, as I say, as a huge fan of yours, a lifelong fan, I've been listening to music for a very long time. So if we think about then a set list, I might want some of the old songs from Lies to Berenice, Sarah, One Born Every Minute, maybe some of the newer stuff. Do you love me?
Oh, my God, I'm a sucker for you. Oh, my God.
What song do you never leave out? What's that one or two songs that you absolutely have to do whenever you perform?
I have to do Lies, that's for sure. I have to do Sarah. I have to do Many Faces. I have to do Pata, and I have to do Falling in Love with Jesus because people have like they'll be upset if I don't. Do You Love Me? There's another one. Surrender. Oh my gosh, man, the list is long. And so when I was thinking about coming home this week to play this weekend. All of those songs, if you're ready, it's going to be in the set list. So I'm just going to have fun. That's what I want to do. I want to play all the hit songs and have fun and hear people join me. Because I haven't played in Joburg in a long time. So this is actually very, very exciting for me to actually come back to Joburg. Because Joburg was a place where I basically grew up in. Nobody knew this, but I was born in Cape Town, but my first stop in Joburg was Fordsburg. That's where I first lived. I stayed in Fordsburg. And then I stayed in Riverlea, then I stayed in Eldorado Park. Then I moved to Bosman and then to Regel Park, Boksburg.
Listen.
So I was all over the place in Joburg.
As you say all those names, people from Elders, from Regel Park, from Bosman, everybody's going to come out this weekend. We're looking forward to your performances. That set list, as you've just outlined it, sounds mouth-watering. It's all happening, by the way, at the Sandton Convention Center, the 14th and 15th of November, the Music and Lifestyle Expo. Jonathan Butler, thank you so much for your time, for the music, and we look forward to seeing you this weekend. And, of course, you can get your tickets at ticketpro.co.za.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
It's Jonathan Butler. I'm sure Clement will not begrudge me that minute. The Clement Manetella Show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Two siblings linked to the murder of rapper Kinnan aka Forbes and celebrity chef Tibelo Mutswane are expected to arrive at King Shaka International Airport in Durban, dead outside a Durban restaurant in 2023. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
It's understood brothers Malusi and Siyabonga escaped the country shortly after the double murder in February 2023. Law enforcement authorities